All right, what's going on, everybody? Narcolepsy Boy 94, aka Malik, back here again with another big special podcast for you all. We're gonna do the WWE and AEW debates. Always, I got some special guests joining, maybe some of your content creators on here. We're all gonna share our personal opinions. Feel free to interact in the chat as well. Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you got questions you want to ask questions. Um, we're gonna be talking about things, with WWE and AEW, about some stuff that we like, stuff that we don't like, other discussions that it may lead into. But as always, I'll let my guests introduce themselves. You guys can plug in your social. Make sure you guys go check out their social follow, and then we'll get right into the debate. We'll start with Inception, and then we'll go all the way down to G Baby. After G Baby, we will start any topic that anybody wants to start with.
Alright. I'm Smithception. Most people just call me Smith for short. I make content on TikTok, mostly about wrestling, but also about other topics I like talking about as well.
What's going on, everybody? It's Lewis. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Wrestling Chop Shop. That's where I be at now, since I ain't doing the TikTok thing no more. But subscribe to the Wrestling Chop Shop. Shout out Brotherhood here with Axel too, so it's gonna be lit.
What's up, everybody? Axel Guzman 1017. You guys can find me on TikTok. Go follow the Wrestling Chop Shop. I watch both WWE and AEW, so this should be fun. Let's get it started.
Hey, what's going on, peeps? It's your boy Henry Wrestling, grown man who loves God and wrestling. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and also you could guys subscribe on my YouTube channel.
What's going on, y'all? Pleasure to be back. Y'all can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. My personal is _G.baby22. And then the podcast that I do, not only WWE, but NFL and NBA topics as well. Keeping it G_podcast. So y'all can follow me there.
All right, so I know some people have some pointers written down. Smith, we can start with you about one thing that you want to touch on. Anything? I know you sent me a list. I didn't actually look at it though because I didn't want to. I want to know up top. So,
I mean, which one would you want me to really start with? I got like my AEW pros, my AEW cons, my things that
you can start with some pros. We can start positive.
Okay, let's get a positive start to this. So I wrote down a couple of pros that I have for AEW, which is my favorite promotion that I enjoy currently, to nobody's surprise. But anyway, so the first thing that I wrote down as a plus is the atmosphere. I just feel like the presence that you get from like being at an AEW show or watching an AEW show is just so unique to it. I really like that. So atmosphere is a plus. And sort of adding to that, the intimacy of, the live events being in the, the arenas that they do, as someone who's actually been to one of them and has the pleasure of being able to go back to one next month. The feeling of an AEW show can sometimes be like no other, just how into it that group of people can be, even if it's a small group of people. Sometimes a niche audience is better than like a big stadium just because of the real like unique feeling it can create. My third plus I wrote is the ability to create homegrown stars out of the likes of people like I wrote Wheeler Yuta, Wardlow, The Acclaimed, MJF, like those types of people. I know the MJF situation is a little hairy right now, but that's another conversation. But like people like that who have really been able to like make a name for themselves within that system, and it just feels like it really works. And to tie into the fourth point, a career revival for the likes of certain people who maybe didn't get their due diligence or their flowers elsewhere, whether that be the WWE or somewhere else. People like Jon Moxley or FTR, who are having some of the best times of their career, post leaving the WWE and really being able to make a name for themselves doing the things that they want to do as opposed to what they're told to do. My second to last point, I wrote just the variety of wrestling that you can get on the show. Stuff like, the technicians, like your Bryan Danielsons or your Daniel Garcias, your brawlers, like your Jon Moxleys and Eddie Kingstons, your hybrid styles, like your Chris Jerichos, your Hangman Adam Pages, your powerhouses, like Powerhouse Hobbs or Wardlow, like I mentioned before, your star power, your guys like your CM Punks and your Kenny Omegas, on the roster. And you get your seasoned veterans who are able to like guide other talent and still put on great matches that they're very much capable of putting on. Guys like Christian Cage and Matt Hardy, and even your high flyers like Matt Sydal and Dante Martin. So I feel like even if you don't love everything on the show, there is something that you are guaranteed to love just because of what it has to bring to the table. And the final point that I have as a pro is the focus on wrestling without completely losing the elements of sports entertainment that we tend to actually like out of the WWE.
Okay. Lewis, what about you? I know you got some pointers. You got any positive feedback from either show?
Positive.
So we'll start with the positive.
We'll start with positive. What I do like is I'm biased. Especially with the whole career, revitalization of AEW, especially with my favorite wrestler of all time, Christian Cage. Just I never thought I would ever see that man win another world title, and just having to see that on AEW on the first Rampage show, beating Kenny Omega, that shit was cool. So I say I like the revitalization of AEW. But I also like just the ability to work with other promotions and not be so big headed in a sense. I think they do a really good job with I wasn't the biggest fan of the Forbidden Door pay-per-view going into it, but afterwards I was like, all right, I judged it a little bit because of the card, but they made sure that they let the New Japan stars also shine bright in all their matches. So, that's something I really do got to give AEW that they're not so boneheaded about with. And just the consistency of really good matches. I love just really good, my favorite style is technician wrestling, like the Kyle O'Reillys, the Bryan Danielsons, the Daniel Garcias. So just seeing that kind of wrestling on a consistent basis is what I really like. So those are my positives for sure.
All right. Axel, y'all coming back on, boy.
Yep.
What about you? Positives? It could be for WWE, AEW. You can start with any positive you want.
I mean, most people know where I sit at with WWE, so. But like Smith said, bro, with the AEW, a lot of people don't know. I went to my first AEW show last month. The atmosphere, fucking amazing, bro. Prior to that, I went to WWE SmackDown, left, phone was good, had some battery. AEW, I couldn't record anything for Rampage because the phone was dead. The atmosphere, Justin Roberts, like through commercials, going with the fans and everything, I don't know what they do. I don't know what's really the difference between it, but the atmosphere is amazing. You guys know Jeff Hardy's my favorite. I like Cena. So as far as wrestling technicians, not really, but with AEW, bro, the wrestling that they bring is amazing. I got to see Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia. That match was amazing. I get to see Dante. I get to still see the wrestling with the high flyers as in like a Sammy Guevara. It's just the atmosphere. I love it. And of course, if it wasn't for AEW, some of my favorites that I had in WWE, I wouldn't be able to watch right now. A lot of people hate that, but I mean, come on. So, like, AEW's doing their thing right now.
Go ahead, Henry. What about you, man? It could be either side.
Shoot, I should have worn my All Elite baby shirt, but I got a longer day today. All right, so let's AEW wise, I agree with you guys. The atmosphere is ridiculous, especially for me who lives in New York. Like, the atmosphere is, oh my goodness. Now, as far as wrestling, like, yes, like, I know a lot of people love storylines. I know a lot of people love certain things, but I'm a type of person that I like to watch wrestling matches like all day. Like, if you could give me a good wrestling match, I would watch it all day. I do enjoy whether it's a singles, tag team, triple threat, these guys showcase their skills and their abilities in the form of art. And, I would definitely enjoy it. Cons, I know a lot of people's going to be mad at me, but it's okay. It's okay to have blood, but I'm seeing too much. It feels like GCW vibes in some of these matches. And I'm like, yo, the blood is cool, but it can't be all the time. So that's the only negative I have with AEW. And also, I don't know about you guys, but I was like a lot concerned that AEW signed ex-WWE. Because, like, yes, we do see guys, their career revives and you see them skyrocket, but then there are some that haven't like been booked what we thought they would be, how they'd be booked. So that would be my two negatives. But other than that, I think AEW is amazing. They just got to keep improving and stop worrying about the other side. Like, the other side ain't going nowhere. Worry about your brand. Worry about building a brand that people can say, you know what, it's Wednesday, it's Friday. You know what that means. I'm gonna sit back, relax, because we're gonna see some wrestling. We're gonna see some new things. Like you can't just you can't focus on WWE. You got to focus on your brand because WWE has been around for like what 50 years or plus. You guys are going 3-4 years. So that would be my 3 negatives right there. Too much blood. Some guys that I thought they would like rise up in AEW didn't, and also focusing on the other brand instead of focusing on themselves. But other than that, AEW is amazing.
G, what about you, bro? Be either
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, so I heard, all the pros for AEW. So I'm just going to give some pros for WWE because I understand. I'm looking at WWE now the way I looked at NXT in its prime. The NXT takeover, Black and Gold. So now that I know Triple H is in charge and EVP of Talent Relations, that is how I watch this WWE show now. So with that being said, the first thing Triple H did was re-solidify that WWE has the best women's division on the planet and nobody can touch them. So I love that. I love that they are now going back to like not rushing everything. Like I've always been a person like not every single pay-per-view needs to be a title match for the same. Like it's supposed to be a pay-per-view, so you're supposed to save that for more like the bigger feuds and all that. So like I love the fact that Bianca's not defending her title. I like that they took Seth Rollins and Riddle off for SummerSlam because honestly it had no reason being there. It was just something for them to do. So I love the fact that they took that off for SummerSlam because they didn't need to be there. You know what I mean? So now that Triple H is in control, I love that we're going back to what peak NXT was. I know when AEW was like first came out, obviously we were still in the Vince thing, so the wrestling is never AEW's problem. Like I've even came to appreciate like the technical wrestling because I never used to be a fan. I love Daniel Bryan, but I didn't want to see a grappling match before. Now I do because I've like opened my mind. I've seen what good technical wrestling is. So I love the technical wrestling aspect of it. I love that even like TV matches always felt like felt like stakes in them, and then they just turned it up a whole nother level because all my favorite guys from NXT, most of them are over there. So I knew wrestling was never going to be a problem with them. I'll even say up until Triple H took over, storylines were better too. But I cannot stand their women's division. I think it is arguably the most inconsistent thing about AEW. And like I would argue NXT 2.0's women's division is more consistent, and that's a problem. And that's a big problem for me. And I don't like they need to get this Ring of Honor TV deal out the way. Or they need to make Rampage 2 hours and start treating it like it's an actual important show and stop pre-recording it, because I would argue Rampage right now is on the same level as like OG pre-recorded SmackDown. Before they went live, I think 2016? Like before Land of Opportunity SmackDown, I would argue that's what Rampage is a very missable show. I think I've only watched 3 Rampages live, and I think it was the first one, and then when CM Punk showed up. And I want to say maybe I watched one where like the tag titles were defended or like something like that. But like legit Rampage is a very missable show. And when you have a overbloated roster right now, because they don't have enough TV time and they're signing up, like I get the big names, but they're signing like Parker Boudreaux and whoever was, I guess, Tony Two Dimes from NXT. Like they're signing those type of guys now. Like now it's starting to become a problem. Like I understand the big names. You go get Adam Cole. You go get Keith Lee. Go get Swerve. Get those guys. But like, did you really need Parker Boudreaux? Did you really need that other? Like, yeah. Like I just feel like they got too much talent there. Where like even Ethan Page, he said it too. Like I ain't been on the show for 5 weeks. I got a throwaway match and was never mentioned again. You know, Miro, like, I love Miro. He came in, I didn't really care for what he was doing before, but it was something. Then he went on his TNT title run, and I was like, great. And I know he's been kind of hurt a little bit, but, like, I like that he's doing something again, like, with House of Black and stuff, but I just feel like because they don't have enough TV time, they really need to focus in on being consistent with storylines and make Rampage feel important. Rampage, like, this is the last thing I'll say. Shout out to Ricky Starks. Like, the fact that he was able to get over and be a bigger star now, but I could not care less about him being on Rampage over and over for the longest time. Like it's just, so yeah, Rampage and the overbloated roster and their women's division are their two biggest issues for me. And I think now that Triple H is in charge, I think that's going to highlight AEW's weaknesses a lot more, because now there's not the, oh, well, at least it's better than what Vince is doing creative-wise. Like, now that excuse isn't there, it's going to highlight a lot of AEW's weaknesses right now. And we can already see it.
So do you guys think it's becoming an issue for them signing so much talent? I mean, they have a lot of good talent already there, but they keep signing more talent, and they only have 2 hours of TV time on Wednesday, an hour of TV time on Friday. So you think, in the beginning it's cool, and it's not like it's their fault because WWE cutting and releasing so many people. But do you think that it's becoming an issue for AEW? Because, like G said, some people aren't being on the show, and some people aren't being televised. We know certain superstars are going to get put on the brand and put on the show, but what about the people you just signed? Like, Andrade hasn't really done much since he's been there. I can't think of one great thing he's actually done since he's been there, and he's one of the best. So, and there are other people who haven't really done much that have been there. So do you think it's becoming an issue, or do you think maybe AEW needs to make Rampage 2 hours, or what do you guys think about that? What do you think, Smith?
Rampage need to be 2 hours, bro. That's
100%, 100%. That Dynamite and Rampage, to justify the bloated roster that they have, the amount of people that they have is fine if they can make it work. They're currently not making it work, but one of the best ways they can start is by having Dynamite and Rampage have a Raw SmackDown dynamic. Maybe not so far as to do a whole brand split deal. Maybe have a soft rule of wrestlers primarily showing up on one brand or the other and not really crossing that much, but nothing set in stone. Just do that to just get a feel for if that's the right thing to do for them. And if that's not the right thing to do for them, and they need to figure out something else that, is beyond our realm of knowledge or anything we could think of because Tony Khan's the booker and we're not, then so be it. I just feel like they should at least try that.
I'm actually glad you said that just real quick, because one of the things was I don't think it should be a brand split, because that means you got to introduce a whole nother title, a whole separate tag. They don't need any more belts. They are good. They don't. But I would have it to where it'd be if you're the champion, you can defend on any other thing. But if you're not, you build your ranks up. Just have two separate rankings, your Dynamite rankings and your Rampage rankings. But the champions, you defend on both.
Yeah. I think the whole titles thing was actually I think the amount of titles that they have, I don't think it's excessive yet. I feel like it would be if they kept trying to do more. I think the amount of titles they have right now relative to the people on their roster and where those people are in their divisions works for what they're trying to do. I wanted Trios titles, and I'm sure all of us wanted Trios titles, long before the TBS championships and the All-Atlantic championships existed. Because look, as great as Jade Cargill is doing with the TBS championship, getting her time to shine and be an undefeated final boss for her women's division, the Trios titles were more hype than both of those titles combined, which is why I'm glad we're finally getting them, but I wanted them first. And I do think that with the likes of Slim J and Parker Boudreaux and Ari Daivari forming the Truth Busters and them having a place to go, that being the Trios division, again, it's another one of those things that can help with their bloated roster on top of, getting more TV time and having the number of belts that they do. But again, it's not perfect, but I feel like they can get there. I have faith that to a certain degree it will get there.
You want to touch on it, Louis?
Yeah, I'd say my biggest issue with the bloated roster is, for example, a guy like Jay Lethal comes in, debuts against Sammy Guevara, puts on a great match against Sammy Guevara, and then next thing you know, he has a shit ton of matches on Dark. Nobody watches Dark, and then the next time we see him, he's already had 7 matches that nobody fucking knows about. I, in a sense, do see why they put big superstars on Dark, but just in my eyes, I feel like Dark should be used to build up homegrown talent in a sense. But also a guy like Jay Lethal, I want to see him get 7 wins straight, on TV. I don't want him to win 7 straight on Dark, because those wins on Dark don't They don't mean shit. I'm sorry. They don't mean shit. So I say my issue is with this whole bloated roster thing is debuting somebody, great match, and then we don't see them for like a month or two, and then they just randomly come back and have like 10 fucking matches under their belt. It's like, what the fuck? But that's one of my biggest issues for sure.
Especially when a lot of times that debut match is usually like an immediate challenge for a championship of some kind, and we already know they're losing.
Yeah.
What about you?
You just explained the women's division. You literally just explained.
He explained Sammy Guevara's title reign like really good. I'm a big fan of Sammy Guevara, but that was a whole bunch of Sammy Guevara's title reigns, bro. Like Ethan Page was in AEW, like you know, he was already there for a long ass time, but just immediately coming, just like title shot, no build up, like with the like didn't win a big match or anything, and then fucking Jay Lethal comes in and all this shit. Like that was the epitome of Sammy Guevara's title first go round with the TNT title, and it just pisses me off because Sammy Guevara could have easily had these matches with proper build up and those guys actually working towards getting those title matches. And that to me, that was a big reason why people turned on Sammy Guevara, because you put him against a guy like Jay Lethal, and now people want Jay Lethal to win, but it's one of Sammy Guevara's first title defenses, so it's already blowing off steam for Jay Lethal. So it's
What about you, Henry?
I do agree with you guys. We definitely need Rampage to bump up 2 hours. No pre-taping, please, because I went through that last year in Grand Slam. There was 2 hours of pre-taping, so I know what it's like. They need to really extend Rampage. Like they really need to do that. They really need to this whole signing everyone, like it's cool and all, but then wait, what you gonna do with them? What's the plan? What's the plan for them long term? What's the plan for them short terms and things of that nature? I do agree big stars should not be in AEW Dark. That should be like those people that like they're in the indies and they're working and they're there to work their way up so people can like recognize them and stuff. But they gotta fix that. They can't just be out there signing people to chase clout and stuff. They gotta really fix it as soon as possible. If not, it's gonna go downhill from there.
Wait, X. Oh, you want to say something, G? Hold on.
No. I'm gonna let him go because I got something for that.
Listen, at first, I'll admit it. I had so much problems with the whole signing WWE talent, all this, until I got it. It's like with Chris Jericho winning the AEW title. It's to bring eyes to the product from somebody that everybody knows. The Adam Coles, the Bryan Danielsons. Now, with the other people they're signing, it's getting ridiculous. I'm not saying they're not known. I'm not saying they're not good. It's just, where do they go? As you guys were saying, Jay Lethal. Like, come on now. I'm happy. I got to see him live. But in a Rampage match that's pre-recorded, I feel like somebody like Jay Lethal deserves more than that. And it's just getting out of hand. They keep signing, and now I'm back to the issue where are these people going to be on TV? You have the shortest of segments with certain stables and tag teams. They get like 2-minute TV time, and you're still bringing people in. Where do they fit? Not Dark, like you guys said. Dark should be to elevate people. When I went to Dark, I was seeing a whole bunch of people from Worcester, Massachusetts promotion. And I'm like, who are these people? That's what Dark should be for, not a Jay Lethal or a Kenny Omega defending a title or anything like that. That's where I see the issue. Before it was good to bring the eyes, but now you're just getting hungry with the talent and you're just wasting them away. Miro, Andrade, come on.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say, like, this reminds me a lot of another promotion that was doing the same thing, bringing in all these guys that wasn't to get names on their product, and then they wasn't doing nothing with them after. We all saw how that ended. And don't get me wrong, the wrestling. What's saving AEW is that the wrestling and the storylines, for the most part, are still top notch. Like wrestling, I don't have a problem with, and I love their subtlety with storylines. Like that Hangman 2-year storyline, I was hooked. Every week, I was hooked.
Well, I think another thing that's saving AEW too for me is that WWE's product was so bad for so many years that when AEW was formed, people got something different. You know what I mean? Like they got different options to watch something different because WWE was just repetitive of the same shit. Didn't have any competition, so it was like y'all gotta watch us. I mean, y'all can watch little indie promotions, but we the main company here, so it's like y'all gotta watch us, or you're just not gonna really enjoy much stuff. And even though WWE is still the main company, it's like you have an alternative though, and not even alternative for fans, but for superstars as well. Like, okay, well, maybe I don't have to go to WWE and AEW. They can pay me just as much money, and maybe I can go over here and do some stuff. You know what I mean? But now it's kind of like their roster so bloated. It kind of reminds me of WWE before, like WWE before they were like refusing to release talent at one point because they like had so many people on the roster. They were paying like people more money to stay so they wouldn't go anywhere else. But then they start releasing people, and now AEW is kind of like signing a lot of people, but there's still people like I don't know about y'all. Like I'm cool with Keith Lee and Swerve as a tag team, but Keith Lee should be in the singles competition. Like he's world championship material. And I dig the tag team, and I understand why they have him in a tag team because you have a lot of singles guys. But I just feel like if they didn't have so many people, he could be utilized better as a singles guy competition because we all want to see him be utilized better on the main roster because we saw how great he was in NXT, and then he came to the main roster and they threw that under the bed and shit on it. So it's like, okay, he goes to AEW. Maybe we can finally see that big singles push, the single star that we want to see in the main light. But he's not really getting that. He's in the tag team thing. Maybe it'll happen afterwards. Who knows? But even guys like Andrade wasn't doing shit in WWE in the main roster. He goes to AEW. And this is really before they signed a lot of people too. Like Andrade, he was one of, I think, did he go there during the pandemic? I think was it during the pandemic era? Or
yeah, it was like right before they were about to like get out of it.
Yeah, so like this is before a lot of people were really signed to AEW, and they really haven't done much with them yet. And he's really good too. And I was like, why are they doing something with Andrade? Like I don't understand it. So I don't know. I just feel like
spitting right now because
I just feel like signing so much people, it could kind of hurt them in the downfall because like, you know, like I guess one of the main problems with WWE was like people weren't being utilized, but like you don't want the same type of environment AEW. You know what I mean? Like, what if people are just not going to be backstage unhappy and like, oh man, they're not doing shit with me. Like this ain't what I thought. And then like, what if Tony Khan doesn't want to release them? Or like, what if they're just stuck there? You know what I mean? So it's like, hopefully things can get better. But like, I do think they probably should make Rampage 2 hours just to help utilize other superstars and get them a spotlight. But I think they're kind of, number one, I don't think they want to, just because I don't think they want to be compared, quote unquote, too much to like WWE. Like they have the two brands, so we don't want to do that type thing. You know what I mean? But it's like people steal shit all the time. Come on now, it's like people. I mean, how much Vince McMahon ain't never stole nothing from somebody, just renamed it something different. You know what I mean? Like I wonder where he got the Hell in a Cell from. That's probably he got that from like War Games. He just made it one cell and called it Hell in a Cell. You know, so it's like there's just different aspects. But I don't know. I just feel like with them having so much talent there, you know, honestly, like I don't know how you guys felt, but I wasn't like too shocked when Cody Rhodes decided to go back to WWE. Like it didn't surprise me.
Neither was I.
I wasn't even because some people were like really shocked because he was in the power position, but like in my mind, I'm thinking like maybe AEW wasn't what he thought it was going to be in the beginning. Like maybe things are just differently and not what he wanted. You know what I mean? So it's like, what, Smith?
I don't think it's that I don't think it's that AEW ended up not being what Cody thought it was going to be. I think AEW ended up being like exactly or almost exactly what Cody thought it was going to be. I just don't think he planned long term for his role in that company based on how he was booking himself. Because if you remember year one, he literally made it so that he would never be in the world title scene ever again. And this was like during like month 3 or 4 of Dynamite's existence. So when you book yourself that you can't ever be your world champion again, then your ceiling is the mid-card or the tag team division. And we all know Cody was never going to put himself in a tag team division because, well, he just straight up didn't do that. So what's left for him to hog or to take up? The mid-card title scene, which is why he made himself the inaugural TNT champion. And it's why he felt like he needed to go 50-50 with Sammy and break up Sammy's runs that didn't have to be as broken up as they were. And, like, I think another problem that is that Cody was the guy that everybody thought that they could believe in with his promo work and him feeling like real, and then the people they could actually believe in showed up. People who are better on the mic and feel more genuine on the mic than Cody did. They started to peel back the curtain on Cody, or Cody started to peel back the curtain on himself, pretending he's this down-to-earth guy who's always for the people, yet he's living this luscious life and flexing his TV deal and his brand deals and his Go Big show with all these other hosts. And it just started to feel like less genuine, and people caught on to that, especially when the more genuine people, the Bryan Danielsons, the CM Punks, and the Eddie Kingstons of the world joined the roster.
Well, I feel like Cody was backed into a corner a little bit, because I feel like if he'd have made himself the AEW World Champion, people would have just complained about him being the champion because he was in the power to do so. So I feel like either way, if he would have been the World Champion, if he's not the world champion, then people are they have something to say about it. But if he is the world champion, I think he would have got the Jeff Jarrett treatment. You're only the world champion because you have partial ownership in the company. Because I feel like that would have gone. I heard it with the Young Bucks. I feel like it was going to be with anybody. Kenny, just because those guys helped start AEW and made it what it was. So he would have got that type of backlash no matter what. And I think he didn't. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know if Cody knows, but I just feel like maybe he kind of didn't want that, or maybe he thought if he built himself up differently, maybe he would have got a different type of feeling or something, but it just didn't work out for him.
And then also, too, Cody didn't want to turn heel. So first the heat was, hey, turn him heel, let's get a new version. It's kind of getting stale. And then when he wouldn't, he got go away heat. So I think also in Cody's mind, it was kind of well, I know if I go to WWE, I don't have to be a heel. First of all, they need baby faces. And the story's perfect there. Dusty Rhodes' son, after 6 years, comes back. How is that not a baby face? So I think in his mind, he knew he didn't want to turn. I mean, he gave a whole promo saying, I'm not going to turn heel. Cheer me. That's basically what the promo he gave. So yeah. I think, and then also, I think it reported Tony Khan didn't want to pay him as much as Cody Rhodes thought he was worth. Which, I know hindsight's 2020, but at the time it made sense because he didn't feel like the biggest star. That was Kenny, that was MJF, and then they were bringing in all these other bigger stars, where it was kind of well, Cody, you're really not on that level right now, So, but first of all, WWE, I don't care what they say, they got money to throw at anybody, and then it's again, it's as much as Vince didn't want to say they weren't competition. Imagine still in the EVP. Yeah, I'm going to throw at you whatever I want. And I'm going to give you the run you want. Because I know, that's going to be a big blow. And then, ever since Cody joined WWE, what's been all the rumblings? Oh, snap. Maybe more might come. All of a sudden, MJF don't want to be there. Thunder Rosa don't want to be there. Thunder Rosa's unhappy, which she should be. So, it's now I just think that was kind of the beginning of people realizing, oh, okay, not everything over at AEW is all peaches and rainbows. You know what I mean? It was just, the storylines were so much more consistent than what Vince was doing, and everybody creative-wise just wanted something different. So, AEW really thrived on that because it was good. But now that Triple H is in charge, all them problems that nobody was really talking about, I just feel are elevated because I don't ever remember these problems with Triple H in charge of a promotion. That's just me.
Yeah, so, NXT was the best thing in WWE for a period of time. That was carrying WWE for a minute, you know what I mean?
It really was. Takeovers were better than Manias at one point.
Yeah.
For sure. So
takeovers were better than all the big four pay-per-views, which is exactly what they were putting right before their big four pay-per-views.
NXT carried that one Survivor Series too. Don't forget that.
The best Survivor Series they had in a decade was the one when NXT showed up.
For real.
And it's what's crazy? The only reason that got booked is because they got stranded overseas or wherever, in Saudi Arabia. Yep. And it was Triple H had to book the show. So what did we get? We got Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole and an NXT invasion. Yes, so
things had to fall in place for certain things to happen. So
yeah, and that was probably the best stuff we saw for a minute. So that's what I'm saying. Triple H, every time I talk with other people or see stuff on TikTok, I know it's still a habit for people to be like, oh, well, it's WWE, or to have that pessimistic view. But I'm just like,
No, it's
I'm gonna
different.
start doing that with AEW now. Like,
It's different. You can already feel since SummerSlam. It just everything's different. All the vibes are different. Like it just feel. I was at SummerSlam too. You know what I mean? So like, you kind of felt it was different the minute Dakota Kai came out. You know what I mean? It was just like, like this just seems a little bit.
As soon as that was the opening match, I was like, okay, something crazy finna happen.
So Lewis, I know you kind of wrote some stuff down, so you can touch on some of maybe the negative stuff that you don't like, and then we can touch on everybody else's as well. We can't hear you.
Man, I told y'all before we went on the air that I got a certain superstar that I. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you like lagging out real bad though. It's like that.
So I told you I had a certain superstar that I ain't fuck with.
He has like some connection issues or something. It's like lagging real bad. It's going in and out. So, we'll just touch on Smith real quick and then wait for him to come back. So I know you wrote some stuff down too, some negative stuff. We talk about the positives now. We can dive into some of the other negative aspects you have.
All right, so when it comes to the cons that I have about AEW, we already touched on the not enough TV time to justify their roster. That was one of them. And someone touched on the Kenny Omega Hangman story, the 2-year story with him finally being the world champion. And as great as that story was, and as along for the ride as I was, everybody else was for that story, I feel like they feel they can get away with stories lasting way longer than they should, with the Eddie Kingston Chris Jericho story being like a prime example of that. Like, that feud between them should have ended at Blood and Guts. There was no reason for them to have that next match. That's WWE levels of let's do another rematch for the sake of fucking doing it again. And as much as I enjoyed that match in the moment for what it was, it didn't need to happen.
Go ahead, Lewis. Let's see if it works now.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, so I told y'all before we went on the air, I had a problem with one superstar, the booking of that superstar, whatever, and that's Chris fucking Jericho. I'm tired of Chris Jericho not putting people over. For example, the whole MJF feud, I felt like that should have catapulted MJF, and that should have been the start of MJF to go to that world title scene. And what did it do? Chris Jericho beat him. Now I get the whole MJF beat him and shit with the whole fucking labors of Jericho or, whatever. But I felt like MJF should have gone over all out. I feel like Jericho was way past his time. I don't give a fuck how he looks, whatever. I feel like Jericho's past his time. Also, the Eddie Kingston match, the barbed wire everywhere match, that was not Jericho's match to win. That was Eddie Kingston's match to win. That should have catapulted Eddie Kingston. That should have made Eddie Kingston into a household name. Well, he already is a household name in AEW. Y'all know what I mean. That should have been the start of building Eddie Kingston up. I don't like the booking of Chris Jericho right now. I do not like that booking of Chris Jericho. I don't like the fact that he's been put into some huge matches, and when it's time to make a star, when it's time to staple a star down, it just doesn't happen. He ends up winning, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? So I'm not a fan of Jericho right now. It's pissing me off.
I was able to forgive the MJF thing because MJF, as like a classic old school heel, is supposed to get knocked on his ass just for him to get back up again and knock back on his ass because he deserves it again. But yeah, wholeheartedly agree that Eddie Kingston shit didn't need to go. Lewis, before you joined back in, I was talking about how they felt like they could get away with the long-term stories, with the Chris Jericho Eddie Kingston thing being like a prime example of that, because they were like, well, it worked with Kenny and Hangman just fine, so we can do this again, and we can let fucking Chris Jericho get the win over the whole feud, like let him win the war, even though Eddie Kingston is the one that made him tap out clean on fucking pay-per-view. And even if that wasn't enough for you, you could have just had it end at Blood and Guts, and we would have all understood. By having Eddie Kingston be pissed off because he wasn't the one that was able to get the submission on Jericho, and it had to be Claudio doing it on one of the 2.0 guys, like him. Like, I said this in a TikTok before, him acting like super pissed about that when he should be celebrating he won, he got what he wanted, makes him come off as a little bit of a bitch. You can't build a star that's acting like a little bitch.
I actually disagree. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it should have ended at Blood and Guts. I'm with y'all on that. But if they wanted to, have, because I believe Blood and Guts, just like War Games, should be like, hey, that should be the blow off. Hell in a Cell should be a blow off, not a middle thing to get you into the next one. So that's just me. But if you're gonna do that, I thought that was great character work personally. I was like, oh, okay, like at least you're kind of saving it. I think you should have ended it here. But hey, 1-on-1 match, Eddie gets his solo win, gets what he wants, and we can move on. I absolutely hate that they gave Chris the win. I get it was it was to build him clearly because he was gonna face Moxley, so he needed the big win. It did not need Chris Jericho did not need to face him. Like
I personally disagree with you there, G baby. It made Eddie seem like a little bitch, and not only that, but him like saying, I wish I was the one that did that to Jericho, and then for them to have that match, for him to have that barbed wire everywhere match with Jericho and not do what he said what he wanted to do, it makes no fucking sense at all.
And that's the part
so I personally don't agree with you. What they should have done is what Eddie was saying. I want to embarrass Jericho. He should have fucking done it at Blood and Guts. Like what the fuck?
No, yeah, I'm with y'all on that. That's where if I was booking this, that's what I would have had happen. I would on the top, I would have made them tap out, submit, whatever you needed to do. That's where I would have done it. But if they weren't going to do it there, I'm also agree with y'all. He should have just done it in the barbed wire match. Like if you weren't gonna do it there, that's where he should have done it. So I don't like the decisions. The only thing I was really talking about that I disagree with, I thought because they went with the wrong decision, I thought Eddie's character work in the story they were trying to tell afterwards, I thought was okay, even though it was the wrong decision. But no, I think they did two wrong decisions back to back. Eddie should have just been the one to tap him out, and then he should have won the bar, and then he just threw him in that little thing afterwards. I'm like, bruh, did somebody hire like Bruce Pritchard and say, hey, bruh, how you want to book this? Because what is that? Like, that was one of the few times, like, because me, even if I disagree with the decision, I can't stand when I see decisions that I view are actively wrong. So, like, real quick, for example, SummerSlam. I think the Street Profits should have won. I thought that was actively the wrong decision. That's just me personally. We can get into that later, but I think that was actively the wrong decision. Same thing here. Eddie Kingston not winning, I think is actively the wrong decision, and it takes me out of it. Even if the wrestlers and the story is great, it'll dilute it so much if I feel like you have the wrong decision. Mm-hmm. And that's just an example. I feel as of late, I feel like of the wrong decisions. A side note also, I don't think CM Punk should have won against Hangman Page. But I understand what they were doing because before he got hurt, I 100% wholeheartedly believe they were building him up so that MJF could win the title. And that's the better story. So I understood it. But I still, to this day, don't think CM Punk should have won. That, to me, I thought was the actively wrong decision. But CM Punk is so... Like, I shed a tear when he came back. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I watched that live, shed tears. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's back. I can't believe it. But... I just feel like they did such a good job building up Hangman Adam Page, and then they gave him the title, and it was underwhelming after that. He had the great match with Danielson, and I was like, oh, okay, hey, look, they're doing a good job with him, and then everything else after that was mid, which is exactly what they're doing with Thunder Rosa. So unless you're Britt Baker, Kenny Omega, or like John, or like an ex-WWE guy, you might reach the mountaintop, but then it's going to be mid after that.
And what's the issue with that? With Hangman, Thunder Rosa, they give us the good storylines of them getting there. They get it, and it's just mid. What is?
Can anybody tell me when Britt Baker ever got pinned as the champ? I'm just curious. Was there ever a show Britt Baker wasn't on? Was there ever a show she didn't feel like the most important thing?
She got pinned by Rio.
Okay, so she did get pinned by Rio. Cool. How long, in that whole long reign, that was one pin? Thunder Rosa's been champion for 2-3 months? Whenever that pay-per-view was, and she already getting pinned. She not even getting pinned on TV. She getting pinned in another promotion. Like, that to me is even worse.
There was technically one other time where Britt Baker did get pinned by Thunder Rosa during that no
Yeah.
holds barred match.
Oh, the unsanctioned match.
Yeah, unsanctioned
but
match.
I do get your overall point.
Yeah, I was like, but that was different because we knew that's where the end game was. We knew, and like we knew that's where like. So if Thunder Rosa takes a pin, let's just say Tony Storm, because eventually Tony Storm is winning, and they're telling a story with that. That's cool. I'm not. I don't hate champions getting pinned if it makes sense storyline wise. But I'm just comparing it to Britt Baker because I don't think Tony Khan would ever allow Britt Baker to get pinned outside the promotion. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Kenny Omega would have won the title and had an underwhelming title run. You know, I don't think he would let that happen to Bryan Danielson. Shout out Jon Moxley because I did not know what they were gonna do when they made him interim champion. Hey, I'm thumbs up. They basically making it an open challenge. So that's cool with me. But honestly, I don't feel like he should lose to Punk. And I think he's going to put it on Punk because he wants to just continue the story. And I personally think that's the wrong decision. So, like, I genuinely feel we're about to see a lot of wrong decisions happen over the course of the next couple of months from AEW. And all this hype about, AEW, like, it's here to, it's here to stay, better than WWE. And all that stuff is about to hush down real quick. I think we're about to see it actively. Now, I hope it doesn't happen because I love AEW. I love watching it. It's something else for me to watch. I don't want to pay $60 every pay-per-view. But, hey, it is what it is. But all these actively wrong decisions, like, I mean, there's just so many. We complained about what WWE did with them. I don't hear as much of the same complaints I do on AEW side. I hear it. Don't get me wrong, it's there. But with WWE, they had a megaphone. Keith Lee, you're doing them wrong. Andrade. Oh, we don't want Adam Cole to hit the main roster because we know he's not. I mean, we heard the reports of what they wanted him to do. Not that many people that go over to AEW really get that shine. Unless you just like, if you're not on Bryan Danielson level, you're not getting that shine, honestly.
Speaking facts on that one, I mean, we kind of touched on that a little bit too. Like, a lot of people who've gone over there who didn't really do much in WWE aren't really doing much over there either. So it's like, really, what's kind of the point? And now they're kind of stuck over there because I think they signed long-term deals too. So it's like they can't go nowhere else or get out of that contract. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think
most of the contracts are 3 years.
I think. Do you guys think now with Triple H being in charge, do you think WWE will start? I don't know. Start winning some of the fans back and start taking over as more like the dominant promotion, like, or do you kind of think it'll be even, or what do you guys think about that?
The change is not going to be night and day, but it certainly will happen slowly but surely. Is what I think.
If you ask me, I think it's gonna start with Karrion Kross. That's what's gonna. I'm biased. That's my Boricua. I call him the Puerto Rican God. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. But I think it's gonna start with Karrion Kross. If people don't actually believe that we're in the Triple H era, wait till Karrion wins that World Heavyweight Championship. Then we gonna talk about it later. All right? TikTok Doomsday's here, motherfuckers.
So, can I ask y'all a quick question? But just on that topic, y'all think Karrion Kross should win the title like now?
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it just because I know how dominant he was in NXT, and I saw the before stages of Karrion Kross before the main roster, so not everybody saw that version of him. So I can understand for some people if they don't feel like he's ready, they didn't see that version of Karrion Kross. But Karrion Kross was legit in NXT. When it came to the main roster, I thought he was for sure going to be a Vince guy. I mean, he looks like I saw him in person at StarCast when I went there, and like, dude, he looks like a superstar. I'm like, bro, how did they fumble the bag with this dude? Like, this dude big as shit. Like, it's crazy to me. We're like, I just feel like I wouldn't be opposed to it if they put the title on him so soon. Now, if that does happen, I think it'll be the WWE title, because I do think they'll probably keep the Universal title on Roman, and they'll split up the titles, which I think is Triple H's kind of goal here. Because if Triple H is in charge, I don't think he ever would have did the unification match at WrestleMania anyway. So I think he's going to try to split up the titles and make Karrion the champion on Raw, and then keep Roman on SmackDown as the champion, and then he'll push Karrion Kross as like the top guy on Monday Night Raw. Now, I mean, you can't really say for too soon. Like, you don't really know until it happens. So, I mean, personally, I wouldn't be against it.
I mean, I'm not saying I would be against it, but me. So let's just say their eventual plan, Clash of the Castle. You know what? One title's on the line. We're gonna split it up, right?
Right.
I'm not against Karrion Kross being WWE champion, but I feel like it just because of where the show is. If you're gonna take the title off of Roman, it's got to go to Drew. But then you can build kind of like they don't do this often. But when the babyface wins the title and then their next defense they lose it, they did it with Sami Zayn and they did it with Johnny Gargano. I think you can get away with it here with Drew. Give him a 2-month reign, have like 2 little mini one-off defenses in between, but you know Karrion Kross is coming. So I don't know what is immediately after Clash of the Castle, but if you want to make Survivor Series feel like a big deal again, have Karrion Kross win a Survivor Series.
All right, so I kind of want to play devil's advocate with what you're saying. So I think I got no problem with Drew beating Roman, but here's the thing, though. A lot of people feel like whether it's for the WWE, Universal, both, whatever, whoever beats Roman has to be pushed like a true star. So the problem with Drew, with what you're saying, not the problem, but with what you're saying, Drew can hold on for 2 months. The Karrion takes it off of him. People would look at Drew's buildup as being a waste because you build him up to beat Roman. Roman's been on this dominant run for about almost 3 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. 3 years, right? But on this dominant run for 3 years, just to drop it in 2 months. That's where people are going to be like, all right, why did Roman drop it? If that was the case, you should have just kept the belts on Roman then and then have Karrion beat Roman.
Well, got you. So since you play devil's advocate with that, me personally, I don't think Roman should lose it till Mania. If he's going to lose regardless. Because if they do Rock and Roman at Mania, Roman's not losing. But if Rock can't make it, I'm not gonna lie. I think the first time you pin Roman in 3 years, for me, has to happen at Mania. But I understand they want to separate those belts. So maybe you can get away with it in a triple threat. But for me personally, if you want to separate the belts, cool. But I just don't want to see Roman get pinned if you're not going to do it in Mania.
I mean,
or like the night after or something like that.
The best way they have to do it is they just got to make it a multi-person match, and this Roman doesn't lose. You know what I'm saying? If they did Drew versus Roman versus Karrion, like Drew would have to take the submission. You know what I mean? And Karrion would win. That way Roman loses one belt, but he still has the other belt. You know what I mean? They would do like that. Or I mean, really, if they wanted to, like they could just have Roman give up the WWE title because before that. He was remember the whole thing where he was saying like he didn't even care about the title. Like I don't even care about
on some Keith Lee shit. When Keith Lee, I don't want to bring NXT into it, but it's kind of like the similar situation. When Keith Lee became double champion, he was just like, I'm NXT champion now. I held this North American title. I've elevated it, so I want to give that up. You know what I'm saying? Let other people have an opportunity to win this championship. But since it's Roman could be like, fuck this belt. I don't want this shit because I never wanted it. But at least let him hit. I'm not a Roman fan, y'all know it. Fuck Roman, but at least let him hit like 150 days with it, so it's not too much of a fucking waste.
Yeah, I guess they could just be like, hey, look, we doing a draft.
Well, because
I don't need this no more.
But that's the thing. The draft is after Clash at the Castle too. So how are we doing this? How are we doing this with 2 belts?
Yeah, I don't know.
To be perfectly honest, having him drop probably the WWE Championship after some time and literally just going the fuck this belt route is probably the best case scenario. Because Roman is objectively, it's not an opinion, he is objectively WWE's #1. And he has been for a long time now, regardless of how you personally feel about him. So if they're gonna have him get pinned, and even if it's gonna be clean, like on top of that, it's not gonna be to drop one of the belts but not the other, or it's not gonna, it's gonna be when he's completely stripped of the gold, not just one half of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
I mean, they could do it the triple threat way. If they gave him the title, he could do that as well. Because before, like I said, when Brock originally challenged him to the title for title match, he was like, I don't care about the title. I'm saying, like, I don't want that title. I'm saying, but then they end up doing it anyway. So it's like, I guess it makes sense. But I mean, it's interesting to see what could happen. I mean, there's probably going to be more people coming back to WWE that we don't even know about yet. So I mean, like Hit Rose come back already, Dexter Loomis, Karrion Kross. We're talking about Johnny Gargano and some other people too that are still available that aren't in AEW or somewhere else. But there's still going to be other people there too that Triple H wants to get his hands on and rebuild. You know what I'm saying, and revive. So only time will tell. I mean, I do think with him being in charge, he's shown that things are a little bit different here. So I mean, I'm excited to see what the future holds. I don't know exactly what he has planned, but.
A little bit. I've never been too interested in backstage segments, bro. They had like what 3-4 on Raw, and everything that was happening in the background had to do with the same story. If you were paying attention with the Dexter Loomis, I haven't seen that in a while. Like that's
like that segment. I'm not gonna lie. It really didn't click until the policeman, because the first time I didn't even notice the car. I just saw Nikki ASH in the back. I was like, oh, but I didn't notice the car. Nothing literally clicked until the end when I saw. I'm like, oh, like, and that was just like a good thing to like I'm looking. I'm like, oh, well, I know I'll see that later, or like, oh well, okay, like you're like if this was Vince era, it would have been hammering over and over. Oh, did you see that car accident? Did you see that car? And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm with y'all on that for sure.
One thing I really that I'm really loving right now is Triple H ain't wasting time to like leave his mark on things. Like for example, Tommaso Ciampa, he didn't beat Bobby Lashley, but now we see that Ciampa is slowly elevating to becoming a bigger star. Like he won the triple threat match, and then he beat fucking AJ fucking Styles. Like it's a big fucking deal. Although he didn't have what the fuck am I saying? Shut up. All right. Although he didn't beat Bobby Lashley, my bad. I haven't done this in a while. Although he did not beat Bobby Lashley, he looked damn good in that match. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like he looked damn good in that match. He portrayed himself as a guy to the casual viewers, a guy that's willing to do anything to get his moment. So, Ciampa slowly on.
Cutting out again.
Uh-oh.
I mean, even look at Shayna Baszler. Again in that world title picture, bro.
Do you think she's gonna beat Liv Morgan though?
No, but
I hope so.
Let's not do that. Let's not bring that onto here, bro. Because if she wasn't believable enough to beat Ronda, you're not gonna sit here and tell me she's believable enough to beat Shayna, bro. You're not.
Nah, okay. Oh, snap.
Oh,
messed up.
Nah.
Come on, man.
Nah. Okay, so now I want to talk about that real quick because I've seen so much stuff on Liv Morgan. Okay, so at first I was like, bruh, just beat Ronda. Like, even if it was a roll up, I didn't want to see the tap, whatever. But I think with Liv, I think what we have to understand is up until like right before Money in the Bank, she was still losing all the time. So like up until like the week before, like when she won that match, it was like, oh, okay, well, she's not winning Money in the Bank. Can scratch that out. And then she won. And then she cashed in, even though it was the same night, and got a roll up. Like, I think the story they're trying to tell, this is just thinking because I believe Triple H is good enough to do this. I think the story they're trying to tell is like, even though Liv won the title, she's happy, she's passionate, she still has those confidence issues she was having when she was facing Becky. And because all she's done is lose. So like winning the title because of a cash-in, that's not gonna automatically flip your confidence. So I know people wanted Liv to be like, oh nah, I've won the champion, I can do this, and she still has those confidence. So I'm not upset so much as the way she beat Ronda, but with that same breath, the reason why I think she's going to win is because up until Triple H got here, Shayna's done nothing but lose. Shayna always been taking pins. For the longest time, I was just like, bro, like, does nobody else find it illogical that Shayna Baszler, as soon as she gets that clutch in, she loses the same way every single time? Like, you don't think she had learned how to stop that by now? So I think Shayna's gonna get a story, and I think it's gonna be involved with Ronda. Like, I think they're doing three things at once. I think they're trying to build Liv up, like, all right, even though, we had that angle and all that stuff, we're gonna build you up to eventually gain your confidence and become believable. Because right now, I don't think she was. And then they're building up Shayna to go back to being that dangerous, monster heel she was at NXT. And if I heard this theory, put her in the tag team with Ronda. They ain't got to be in the tournament right now, but that's a great way to build up Shayna.
I definitely think
for their eventual split.
I think Ronda definitely is going to be a part of a story to help Shayna Baszler get her confidence back as a dominant force. Mm-hmm. I don't think Liv is going to lose. I think somebody had said it. I can't remember who it was, but basically her character is basically like just escaping, like getting by. You know what I mean? Like she's getting by with all these title reigns. I think somehow, some way, something will happen at Clash of the Castle. She'll beat Shayna or something, and then like Ronda. Maybe after she loses, Ronda will kind of put into her head like she's weak or something like that, or like she's soft or she's not the same, and then Shayna will start to build herself back up as the Queen of Spades that she was in NXT. So I mean that's just what my theory is. I'm hoping it's like that because she's been too good for too long to been wasted on the main roster for this period of time. You know what I mean? Like she could have already been established in the women's division as one of the top stars, as women's champion already. Like she could have already been established as the place like Bianca Belair is in and other people. Like she could have been there already, but like they wasted her so much on the roster. It's like she has to be revived so much. And if there's anybody who can do it, it's definitely going to be Triple H. But I'm interested to see how they, what happens here with this match. I don't think Liv is going to lose, but if she does, I can say I get mad about it.
As a quick add-on to that, shit like that and how we've seen Shayna Baszler get portrayed is exactly why Shayna Baszler is literally the number one talent I was the most scared of on the main roster. Because we all knew, even if we weren't saying it out loud, we were thinking it, that she was like the number one person in the NXT system whose style is just so not what Vince was looking for in his main roster product. But now with Vince gone, I can see that happening. It's, again, for reasons like that, she was my most scared for person when it came to making the jump from NXT to the main roster.
I actually disagree only because I think we all know the only reason she wasn't champion was because of the pandemic. She was slated to win at that WrestleMania against Becky. I still think she should have won the Rumble, but nevertheless, the whole thing that had came out was the reason they changed the finish was so that fans can be happy about something. And it was during the pandemic, and Vince was like, hey, I don't want to end the show with because Shayna had legit heat. Like, even the people that didn't watch NXT was like, oh, like, she had legit heat. If WrestleMania would have happened in front of a crowd like it was supposed to, she would have won. Like personally, Becky had done everything she needed to do. She had beat Ronda the WrestleMania before and hadn't lost since. That was going to be Shayna's time to win. And they built her so strong in that Elimination Chamber. Everybody got squashed except for Asuka. And even then, Asuka still got beat relatively easy. Everybody got squashed. So, Liv was part of that match too. She got squashed. They were building her up literally for that. But then the pandemic happened. And because a lot of finishes got changed. Because it was I think that was the same year Charlotte and Rhea fought for the NXT title. I think that finish got changed as well. So because I get they wanted to say because Drew never got his moment, but that stayed the same because you need a title on the show because they lost Brock and Roman. But you know what I mean? It's just I think that's why Shayna I wasn't worried about until the pandemic happened. Once she lost, I was like, okay, yeah, now she's gonna get buried. But
but then the fact that shit kind of continued to happen and the bad booking kind of snowballed into when they were bringing crowds back anyway, because again it was still all under Vince. That's I knew, even pandemic or no pandemic, I knew she was screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the burying happens after one loss because Asuka got buried once she lost to Charlotte. Once that loss happens, it's then it starts to trickle.
It's not that Asuka lost to the most decorated woman in the division. It's that she lost to the most decorated woman in the division on the grandest stage of them all, and then spent the entire fucking summer jobbing to fucking Carmella.
Yeah, that was tough.
I say I wanna touch up on the Shayna thing. I personally feel like the main reason why when Vince was in charge, why Shayna wasn't getting shit was because she's not sexy. She's not attractive. She doesn't have sex appeal. Like Vince, likes the blondes with the fat asses, the big titties, the cute face and shit. I mean, just look at the WWE women's roster. A lot of them got fat asses and blonde hair. Like it is what it is. It's the fact that Shayna's just not sexy. She's not attractive, man, and that's what sucks. Because Shayna can't fucking control that. Pretty much, bro. Pretty much.
What about you, Henry? You talk to me. You want to touch on it?
I felt some type of way when Shayna Baszler lost at Mania. I do understand certain situation, but at the same time, it was her time to win the doggone title. Becky Lynch had a crazy run of her lifetime. Like, you're supposed to give a belt to someone like Shayna Baszler, to someone, we're talking about a top heel in the women's division that ran through almost everyone in Elimination Chamber, goes on to WrestleMania, and then just takes the L train. Like, you don't do stuff like that. You really don't do it at all. And it really upset me because Shayna Baszler, see her in NXT and how she improved, like she really grew on me. And for them to do that, that is unacceptable. I'm sorry. Like, I feel some type of way thinking about that.
You know what's even worse about that whole thing?
Go ahead.
Becky Lynch went away because she got pregnant.
Exactly.
That made it.
I don't understand.
Like,
Make that make sense.
That made it.
And they threw the belt on Asuka. Like,
I was like, bro.
That makes sense.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You had no
seriously.
idea.
Is that I've seen reports. I think Becky even said that Becky Lynch wanted to put Shayna over, and Vince didn't want to do it. Like, she pitched the idea and like wanted to lose that match. But
if I'm Shayna, Vince getting these hands, man, I'll give a fuck, man. I'm
if I'm Shayna, I'm like, really? All because of the fucking
Nah.
pandemic, you decide to not put the belt on me and put it on somebody else just to never book them, and then on top of that, to pour salt into the wound, you make me hold tag titles with Nia Jax.
Oh.
Not to mention, if you wanted to build me back up, you should have maybe win Money in the Bank, and not somebody like Asuka who doesn't fucking need it.
Fucking give it away.
I didn't even hate. Oh my god! I didn't even hate when Asuka won it. I didn't even hate when Asuka won it. I was like,
bro,
hey,
I didn't
that
hate
gives
it
us a
either.
play.
But the way
then
how
she
they
comes out
booked
the next
it,
day.
the way
I'm
how
like,
they booked it,
Yeah, that's
Bro,
the way
the
they
way how
booked it.
they-
It was ridiculous.
bro, the way how they booked it, it was like, hey, I'm pregnant. Here you go. Hold this shit. There you go. It's yours now. It's like, what the fuck is
You got the
this?
contract right here.
I was like, that could have. I was like, you could have done a tournament, right? But Asuka's already in the match because she won Money in the Bank. Like, oh my goodness, I hated it. So I was so.
She already in the main event
when I saw
for
that.
the
It was
title.
tough
Yeah,
times,
like,
tough
that's all you
times.
have to do. That's how you cash
it.
in your title opportunity. Oh my goodness, that was crazy.
I'm pregnant. Here you go.
all right, well, what about? So I know there's some people in here who have fallen out with the product of WWE over some years. Maybe I'll let you guys speak on what they did, and other people as well. But people like Smith, I know Lewis fell out for a little bit, and I talked to Henry. He fell out a little bit too as well. Smith, will touch first. What disconnected you from WWE? Touch on that.
All right, so I wrote 5 main reasons that I'm going to briefly touch over that were like the main factors as to why I fell out of love to the WWE product, to the point where it wasn't until this year that I started watching, but only the premium live events. The first reason I feel like is the one that is already universally agreed upon, whether you watch the product or not. It's that there's too goddamn much of it. 3-hour show on Monday, 2-hour developmental show on Tuesday that used to be on Wednesday but got beat out of its time slot, and then another 2 hours on fucking Friday on top of the premium live events that can be anywhere from 2.5 hours to 4.5 hours, sometimes 5 if it's like a big 4 pay-per-view. And I said 5, I meant to say 4. That was a lie. Number 2 is just the tired formula, like the 15-minute monologue that the top guy always has to come out to do at the beginning of the show every single time. And just I just felt like the balance, like, it's not that there's no wrestling on the show. It's just that I felt like there wasn't enough for my liking. I wanted more, but that kept getting taken over by, again, the monologuing and the bullshit segments. That took me personally out of it. The third reason is just the over explanation of segments, making it not worth watching it weekly. Because you could not watch Raw for like 2 weeks straight, and then on the third week you already know everything that they did. Because Raw's a 3-hour show, and even on SmackDown's 2-hour show, they will explain everything and anything, almost as if you like are stupid. Like it's a little bit intelligence insulting. And the final reason is the failure to deliver on promises that the product will be different time and time again. Even in the times where they have outright said it, Vince McMahon himself or the McMahon family and Triple H will come out and just say it. And then there's no noticeable results. Not even just like a gradual change, like literally no change whatsoever after they make such a claim. And those are the big reasons that got me out of it.
What about you, Lewis?
Well, pretty much it was just rebranding NXT. NXT was the only thing that was keeping me watching WWE. I mean, everybody knows when I was on TikTok, I was dubbed as Mr. NXT by my peers, and it just made me love what I did. But I say rebranding NXT just completely took me out of it. And just the call-ups that they did, making it seem like we're stupid and that not many people watch NXT, which was not true. Like roughly 650,000 people. That's a lot of fucking people. Like, what do you mean? Like nobody watches NXT? But it was just the whole Vince McMahon basically calling up NXT talent, changing everything about them. And I kind of took offense to that. Like I felt kind of disrespected because I'm like, I see Triple H build these guys up. I understand they're not homegrown talent, but he basically molded them into WWE superstars to fit the WWE mold. And you're just disrespecting, us by, the time that we spent watching Triple H make these guys. And then you're disrespecting Triple H by just not taking what he's given to you. Like, the whole Nakamura thing, that's disrespectful as fuck. If I'm Triple H, I'm smacking the shit out of him. Like, I gave you Nakamura on the silver platter. You made him win Royal Rumble. You have him lose to AJ at Mania, and then now he's dog shit. It's like, that's disrespectful. So it was constant of that where I'm like, man, fuck that. And it got to a point where I'm like, if Johnny Gargano goes up, I might call it a day, man, because I
think the key word among all of these points and aspects is disrespect.
Yeah.
What about you, Henry?
All right, so we spoke about this. Me and Uncle spoke about this. The mid 2000s, I was focusing on other things. Now we're talking about the 2010s. It was frustrating as far as like main roster. It was very, 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 very frustrating. Seeing the same things over and over and over. Vince McMahon with his favoritism. I'm like, Lewis, NXT was my brand. Like, I saw NXT take over Brooklyn 2. The matches, because the majority of TNA people that we seen, they went to NXT. So I peeped it and I was like, yo, where was all of this when in the main roster? Where was all of this a long time ago? But like it really turned me off with WWE because it was almost the same thing. And it was frustrating because you see these stars in NXT, you see them like, yo, these guys could be great intercontinental champions, United States champion, who knows, a world champion, who knows, could be a Grand Slam champion in WWE. But then you see Vince just turn everything around, or he doesn't see them as stars. Like Lewis says, it's disrespectful, and it's disrespectful to the fans because they invest so much with these wrestlers in NXT that when they go to the main roster, you'd be like, yo, these guys are gonna have a crazy career. And it turns out they look like jobbers. I'm sorry to say this, so honestly, I just feel like the things of Vince McMahon and his favoritism and cherry picking who should be stars and who should not, regardless how he feels, I think that what honestly turned me off. And also just prioritizing box office people instead of building stars, because we've seen that he did that with Lesnar, with all these people. These guys are not going to stick around forever. These guys are getting old. You got to start building these stars that's going to maintain the brand a good 10, 15, 20 years from now. So honestly, honestly, it's just the frustration of everything around with WWE for me.
Another thing, Henny, I wanna touch on is the whole thing. Because I started watching NXT like straight beginning when Richie Steamboat and Cassius Ohno was like the hottest rivalry. But one thing that I loved about NXT was the fact that Triple H gave a lot of the independent wrestling guys a platform to actually showcase their talent. Like I watched Ring of Honor, watch Impact, TNA, and shit. Like I watch a whole bunch of promotions, but being able to see guys like Adam Cole, you know what I'm saying, who was the 3-time Ring of Honor champion, who I never thought was ever going to go to WWE, goes to NXT, and then he brings Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, and then he brings back Drew Galloway, which is now Drew McIntyre, and all this shit, and brings in Keith Lee, Ricochet. Like he's bringing, like Triple H is looking at all these other promotions, Ring of Honor, Impact, looking at it, everybody, and putting them on a bigger platform. And the biggest plus that Triple H did was he was taking the top stars from those companies and he was making your company better. And it just baffles me because Triple H gave them a platform and Triple H just worked with them so hard just for Vince to just throw that shit all away. So that's a spit in the face to Keith Lee. That's a spit in the face to Karrion Kross, and who were booked to be so dominant. It's just fucking frustrating. Like I hated that shit.
Yeah, it was. Good.
One more thing. Lewis, you was concerned about Gargano. I was concerned about Adam Cole. I was very concerned about Adam Cole because he doesn't fit in McMahon's image. Like he's a very good wrestler, but physical wise, he doesn't fit in Vince McMahon's image. So I was very concerned of him.
I told people like, if Vince McMahon didn't even like Karrion Kross, he thought he was gonna like Adam Cole, bro. Like, I was scared for a lot of people going up to it. So when they first started bringing people up, like the 4 Horsewomen, they all succeeded. Kevin Owens had a pretty good debut and did stuff with Cena. Like, it was starting off good. I'm like, okay, this is really good. And it's starting off pretty nice and everything. And the Nakamura thing, though, that just, man.
So, you know what?
That right there really, really crushed me because I watched Nakamura in New Japan before he even came over to NXT. So, like, I saw his run as Intercontinental Champion, like his rivalries with Kenny Omega and Tanahashi and all the stuff he was doing. I'm like when I
his
found
match
out,
with AJ Styles at Wrestle Kingdom, like,
when I found out, like that match, we found out AJ was going to WWE after that. But when I found out that Triple H got Nakamura, I was like, this is the greatest signing ever. This is the greatest in NXT history. Like, this is great. Like, they got one of the biggest stars in New Japan history. And then, of course, he comes to NXT into stars. Well, this is phenomenal. Comes to the main roster. And he loses to Jinder Mahal a little bit, and it was a little concerning. But when he won the Rumble, I'm like, okay, he's back on top now. Won the Rumble, he's back there again. And then they announced he's going to face AJ. I'm like, this is the dream match everybody wants to see. Nakamura's going to go to become champion. It's going to be a great night. And he loses, and then he turns heel. And then I'm like, what are we doing here? And then
exactly.
now it's to the point where like I can't care about Nakamura because they haven't done much with him to make me care about him. And it's after Nakamura. That's when I became concerned about guys like Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe and like anybody at that point who comes to the main roster. I wasn't gonna believe they was gonna get pushed till I saw it. Like I ain't gonna believe it until I see some improvement from somebody. Because now it's like they're bringing people up and it's like they're not doing much with them anymore. And then it became a repetitive thing. Now it's like you said, it was becoming disrespectful. Like the way that they carry it, the way that I was like, bro, I was a little salty.
Man, I was
like dead salty. Like,
man, I tell you, one of my other big issues with Vince McMahon. Wait, can you guys hear me good? I'm not lagging on anything.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
All right. So one of my other biggest issues of Vince McMahon is giving up on the process of superstars. Like, for example, when Triple H brought Finn Balor into NXT, mind you, Finn Balor was a junior heavyweight, one of the best junior heavyweights, and then he turned him into a main event caliber guy. He gets called up, becomes the first ever Universal Champion. An injury that was not Rollins' fault or Balor's fault, but it happens. Shit happens in wrestling. Injuries happen, and just completely gave up on him. It's like I can see not immediately, throwing the belt on Balor when he comes back. He was gone for like 9 months, but you just entirely gave up on him. You didn't give a shit about him. You didn't put him in any big time feuds to get on track. You didn't give him any big wins. You threw the Intercontinental title on him and then treated it as if it was a fucking prop. Like it's the whole point of Vince just giving up on guys when something happens, especially when it's not their fault.
It's only certain people
Yeah.
get that treatment though, because you've heard the backstage stuff like, well, Vince gave up on this person because he was mad or something like that. But it's only certain people that he does that with. He would never give up on a John Cena or a Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying? Like, it depends on like who the person is and what he really sees. So I mean, I just feel like the
Especially
NXT
Roman.
stuff. Honestly, it got a little upsetting to even watch NXT for a period for me because I just knew like once these guys weren't going to be there forever. So like when they come up, they're just not going to be the same anymore. And like NXT was cool, but I'm like, man, like what happens when like Tommaso Ciampa goes to the main roster? Like he's doing great right now, but like he's going to be forgotten about in like 3 months. Like it's going to be terrible. Like what about Authors of Pain? Like they're a great NXT tag team, but they come to the main roster, they're going to be washed down the drain. It's like it kind of was a little bit upsetting for me to watch NXT at some point because I'm watching like, oh man, this guy's great, but then I had to pay reality like, well, they're not going to be there forever because they don't look. In Vince's eyes, they don't look at NXT as a third brand. So like they have to come up to the main roster eventually, and they have to do something with them. But like they're not going to be doing anything when they come up there. Not much. Like I can only name a couple of certain people who have gone up to the main roster and actually really succeeded. You know, like and there have been a couple who didn't even have the best NXT career, and they came like Alexa Bliss wasn't anything in NXT. She came
Bianca didn't win not one championship in NXT, and she got pushed to the moon, which it was just crazy to me. I liked Bianca in NXT, but they were pushing her as a babyface, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't with it. I was like, I mean, I think she's better as a heel, but I guess. Like I was just
but
like,
you gotta remember who was on top at the time though. Ain't nobody beating Shayna Baszler at that time, no matter who you was.
Nobody touched her.
No matter who you was.
I know, but it was
Shayna
that's why
was
it was
on that run.
That's why it was crazy to me when Bianca got this push. She came in off the rip and was getting pushed, and I was her first Royal Rumble. Like I was like,
amazing.
So Vince likes you, but you don't want to give the title to Shayna. You don't want to. It was just wild to me. I was so like Vince. I'm like another thing I wanted to say because I've heard all y'all say like all the moments where y'all like didn't like it or like kind of gave up. One thing it's not right, but one thing I think Vince does, if you get hurt, like while he's trying to push you, you're pretty much done because the same thing happened with FTR. The same thing happened with FTR. They got hurt, and I wasn't watching NXT at this time. The first match I ever watched for NXT was the debut of the ladder match of the North American champion. Whatever takeover that was the first time I actually sat there.
New Orleans?
Yeah, that to me, like, that visual of just Adam Cole, that's the first time I ever saw Adam Cole do this little Bey thing and all that. I was hooked ever since. So... Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Coming up, I didn't watch like the other wrestling. I was just WWE was the only thing out of my house. So like AJ Styles debuting, not gonna lie to y'all, didn't know who it was, didn't care, but the crowd went crazy. So I was like, oh. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a lot of guys that came from independent, and I wasn't watching NXT at this time because I'm not gonna lie. I still thought NXT was that little reality show, and I saw what they did with the Nexus. So I was like, man, I'm not watching.
Don't remind Malik of the Nexus. No,
because I watched that first season of NXT. I'm telling you, when I was I wanted David Otunga to win. I was into Justin Gabriel, all them dudes. I was watching NXT, and then I saw what they did to the Nexus, and I was like, man, I'm not watching this no more. I'm not watching this little reality show. And so I didn't know NXT had turned around into so honestly,
Johnny
like
Curtis,
any of these guys that were debuting, like when Neville first came up, and even the Bray Wyatt, I just thought they were just people coming up, like they gotta sign people, right? So that's all I'm thinking. So then I finally watched it, and like that's the first time I saw like Ricochet, and even though what he did is crazy, I was a big Velveteen Dream guy, like. Anytime he came on the TV, hey, don't talk to me, I'm there. So so I get y'all when it comes to like the stuff, because like I know y'all talk about the Nakamura one. I didn't even really hate that he lost. I just hate that they didn't do nothing with him after. Like that's what I hated. I was like, if you go turn him in, cool. Because I didn't know Nakamura going in. You know what I mean? So like those ones, it's kind of like, but I understand what y'all mean when it's like. Not wanting to watch NXT because when they get up to the main roster, it's gonna fail. Because like I had to look at NXT as like, look, you're in your own little world. You're in your own little world. Anything that goes on here is separate. I don't care. Like I just want to focus on what's going on because I knew like there was guys that I really thought Vince was gonna love. Like I thought Bobby Roode was finna be the next big thing because it's like he has a great gimmick. Like Vince loves gimmicks.
You see,
Glorious. Like
you see, they were at a time they were actually doing good with Bobby Roode. Like they had him win the United States title tournament just to jump into fucking Randy at Fastlane. Like what the fuck is that?
With the only reason being that Randy Orton had never held the U.S. title before.
Bullshit. And
that was the only
at
reason.
Mania, and at Mania, just to have Jinder Mahal win it, and then the Raw after Mania. Axe, love you. Jeff Hardy won it. What the fuck?
Yeah, they were tossing around that title like clockwork. It was just like
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Jeff won it. By the way, I'm just mad they played fucking hot potato with it. I'm good they kept it on Jeff for a while though.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. I know Jeff is a lot of people's favorite. Other than I'm not gonna lie, I don't care what people say. I know it was for the moment. Enzo Amore and Big Cash should have won that tag. That was their time to win. And I knew when they put it on the Hardys, nothing was gonna come of it. I was so heated.
I said it.
So
that was Enzo. That was Enzo and Cass's match to win, bro. It's almost like with the Austin Theory thing. The Money in the Bank was Seth, but once they do that, this person come, you know what's gonna happen. So when the Hardys theme hit, I was like, damn, I'm happy. But now I know where Enzo and Cass are going with this.
Yeah, I knew they was done after that.
And look what ended up happening.
Hell no, Axe wasn't like that. When the Hardys came on, he was like, bro, don't give a fuck.
No. I'm not gonna lie. So, and you know what? Watching that again, because this is still before I was watching NXT. So, like, I didn't know about, like, like the fight reports and all the stuff that comes out. I literally didn't know about any of that stuff. So, I go in blind. So I'm thinking, oh wow, New Day's gonna come in, but all right, whatever. And then Hardy show up. I was just like, oh, they haven't been back in a long time, not knowing that they've been everywhere else. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, they're about to win, aren't they, bro?
Championships in other places.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, I was like, no way they're about to. Yeah, that's why I'm like, no way they're about to win, bro.
You know what's crazy though? But by you saying that though, I respect that about you because I feel like social media with the whole reports and shit has ruined wrestling a lot. The fact that you went this long without knowing anything, going blind, I respect you for that because that's how you're supposed to watch it.
Yeah, because like I'll tell y'all right now, like I would like, and it's just so obviously hindsight is 2020, but I'm like, bro, they pushed Enzo and Big Cass, like they actually pushed them. Like, you think imagine if they were in the NXT now, and they tried to come up to the main roster, like I'm not Triple H in charge, but like the last year and a half or so. Imagine if they would have came up then. Vince ain't pushing them. They getting beat every single second of the week. Like
and released.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know what I mean? So like to me, like just going back and like seeing like so I don't know that Shinsuke was this big star in New Japan. So I'm like, well, hey, they done a good job with AJ. Hey, he has a long little reign. He's beat almost everybody. I'm cool with that. Like I'm the type of person, like for the longest time, I didn't know about a Kevin Owens when he came up and did his little open challenge. I didn't know about a Sami Zayn. So I'm still like, I at the time I'm like, why is Kevin Owens being John Cena? And I ain't seen Kevin Owens not one bit, but he pinning John Cena clean. But then as I go on, I'm like, oh wow, that. So like I literally went back one summer. I was like, I'm gonna go watch all the previous NXTs and just see how people evolved. And after doing that, I'm like, okay. Now I see people's frustration with main roster and like how. So after doing that, it's different. But like, no, yeah, I'm definitely with y'all. Like Shinsuke, like in hindsight, that was tough. Finn Balor, that was tough. It's just, yeah.
You want to touch on something real quick, Smith, before you head out?
Yeah. So before I just head out really quickly, I guess my overarching goal that I wanted to get across here, or my points I wanted to get across here, is that hopefully I'll fall back in love with the WWE product like I did used to love it before I was aware of the alternatives that just happened to fit my needs more as a wrestling fan. And while I do understand the criticisms and will wholeheartedly agree with a vast majority of the criticisms that AEW has, it still is my personal most enjoyed of the products, just due to what I personally enjoy as a fan. So I'm hoping to get back into wrestling. I'm like genuinely actually going to give it a chance with, it being under the Triple H banner, which I never thought was ever going to happen in my lifetime. I never thought Vince was going to ever step out of that chair if it didn't also involve his death. But because it did, I'm willing to give it that chance. I'm going to watch it alongside AEW. Yeah, I'm going to watch it alongside AEW. And I'm going to see where it goes from there. So that's all I really wanted to say. But with that being said, I do have to get going here. Malik, thank you very much. Everybody else, you guys are dope. I'll talk to you guys soon.
You, man.
Peace out.
So what about
Stay safe, big bro.
So let's touch on. We can touch on some. I guess me and Axe and G Baby, we can touch on some things because I feel like all three of us we're WWE guys at heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing I really watched growing up was WWE and TNA. That was it. And I probably would have never started watching TNA if it wasn't for Kurt Angle. I ain't gonna cap to you. Like I ain't
have started if it wasn't for
you
Jeff.
talk about when he came in against Samoa Joe and headbutted the fuck out of him.
My uncle. So my uncle is the one who got me into wrestling, right? Mm-hmm. And then he got me in. He also got me into TNA because he was falling out with WWE. He was checking out TNA, and he had been telling me about TNA for a minute. He was like, "Man, you gotta check this TNA thing out, man. It's nice." And I had seen, like, I saw the Christian Cage and Jeff Jarrett match. You know what I'm saying? I had seen certain things, but I was like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't sweating this TNA stuff. I'm on the WWE side, right? Mm-hmm. But then he had told me, he's like, your boy. He's like, your boy Kurt Angle in TNA. I was like, Kurt Angle in TNA? He in WWE? He was like, no, Kurt Angle is not in WWE. He in TNA, bro. Like, you got to go check it out. So then after that, I was like, okay, well, Kurt Angle in TNA, it kind of got to feel like a big deal. So I go start checking out TNA, and then I get put on the guys like Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode and AJ Styles, and I'm looking at all these people. I'm like, bro, this is like, there was a point in time where even though TNA wasn't as big as WWE, like, I felt like they was putting on just as good of a product. You feel me? Like I was watching every week. I was tuned into it. I used to go to TNA house shows, and I used to go to I went to the pay-per-view lockdown in 2011. You know what I'm saying? So I've been to a couple of shows here and there, but I just feel like for me now, I've never been disconnected from wrestling. Like I've never been one of those people to stop watching something. Like I felt like since like 2018, WWE started to change for me, where it was like, okay, I understand now there are going to be certain things that I don't like and certain things that I do like. I'm just not going to watch things I don't like. That's why I'll just keep up with things that I do like. So I record the shows, but I'm just not going to watch things that I'm just going to keep up with whatever I want to keep up with at this point. That's how I kind of felt throughout the years. But now I'm starting to watch full episodes again. Triple H starting to take over, and it's starting to seem like it's starting to change a little bit. So I'm getting a little bit more excited, a little bit more curious. So I want to see what the future holds, and I'm gonna be watching, Raw tomorrow, and I'm gonna check out SmackDown and Weekly everything. Because before that, it was like before this new transition, it was only like certain superstars that was keeping me watching, like Seth Rollins or Roman or Bianca or like somebody that was keeping me, like anything they would do, I was watching. But anything else, like I'm not gonna care about this because I know they're not gonna do anything with this anyway. So I'm not gonna care about that. I'm not gonna do anything with that anyway either. So I would only just keep up with certain things that I want to keep up with. But I'm hoping that we do get to see a new WWE for the future and in building forward. Certain guys getting pushed and girls, certain storylines, aspects. Like somebody mentioned, like the whole Dexter Loomis thing, with the car, stuff like that. Like that was like 3 segments of storytelling right there. That like we haven't seen that in a minute. Mm-hmm. I feel like even with like the brawls, like when they opened up the show with Logan Paul and the Miz brawling, I'm like, oh, that feel a little bit different. I'm saying, that just seems a little bit different right there. Like we don't get that live. You feel me? So it just seems a little bit different. And I'm excited to see what the aspect has, because now it makes me more excited for when people like, beforehand, like, a lot of people were really high on like Carmelo Hayes coming up, but I'm like, I don't think Vince gonna like Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like Braun Breaker, I can see it, but Carmelo Hayes,
I mean, Steiner's.
Yeah, like I don't see Vince doing anything with Carmelo Hayes. Even Gunther, I'm like, bro, even though he's Intercontinental Champion, like I don't think Vince is gonna do anything with him.
Bro.
Like,
Did y'all read that report that they didn't?
Yeah.
I was just gonna mention that.
Sour on
I
Gunther,
was just gonna mention that.
and that they were gonna
What?
bury him. Yeah, no, there was a report that
After Raw.
he had an appearance on Raw, and they were sour on him, and they were gonna bury the shit out of him.
see, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, just because of his segment with R-Truth. Like it was a segment with R-Truth, and it was like, yeah,
and
that's it.
everything, bro.
That's what you gonna talk about, Henry?
It was like, man,
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Like you see, everybody talk about. I'm gonna mention him, Walter. I'm tired of this Gunther crap.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Well, yeah, I say Walter.
Pete Dunne.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's bro. I am so ready. I am so now that they finished with this
Fuck
Drew McIntyre
Robert Roode.
thing.
It's
I am
Bobby Roode,
so
motherfucker.
ready for Pete Dunne to just
And they got the
just
story.
forget everything.
That boy
and
Peter
just
Dunne.
come
That boy Peter
back.
Done. Clash at the Castle. They got it right there.
Yeah. it's perfect.
Apparently,
right there.
Sheamus and Walter is gonna be for the IC title at Clash at the Castle. What I've
Ooh,
been,
that's gonna be a. Oh,
Yeah, that's gonna be great.
what I've been hearing. That's what I've
that's
been
the last
hearing.
match right there, boy. I was gonna say that. But see,
Man, you
I just-
UK people are so lucky. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
For real.
I always felt like they were
Violence.
gonna do things with certain people, but now that Triple H is in charge, I got hope for Carmelo Hayes. And I'm like, all right, you know, I think he's doing something. Gunther now, I mean, they making the Intercontinental title already feel important. They're doing video packages with the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title. Like they cut promos about the
Vince ain't see
Intercontinental.
shit with Hit Row, but Triple H does. Obviously, Triple H does.
Exactly.
So
I mean,
even somebody like Dexter Lumis, like I don't expect Dexter Lumis to be a world champion, but like I feel like he's gonna be
He can have cool
involved in,
storylines, yo.
yeah, he's gonna be involved in storylines. Like he's gonna feel important to the show.
in the segments,
Dexter
I'm
Lumis-
trying
Dexter
to figure
Lumis
out
and
what the
Randy?
whole car crash thing is now, especially now that it has Dexter Loomis involved. It's like now I'm interested. Now
And it's
I
like-
kind of want to see
And
Dexter
it's-
Loomis and Randy. I'm not gonna lie.
Not to mention, like
Ooh.
it looks like he's targeting AJ Styles. Like that's a big guy.
and
Like,
doesn't AJ have a match with Bobby for the title?
Bobby for the title tomorrow.
Yeah, but let's see
Oh,
what
they
happens
announced
tomorrow.
that? They announced
They
that?
did. Yeah. I personally feel like it's gonna end in a DQ with Miz and Ciampa getting involved, and it's gonna turn into a tag match. That's what I think. But I would love for them to
That's
just have them. That's a first time ever match. We need that. We need to end it.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
Oh my
hey,
God.
if this was Vince era, I'd be like, hey, bro, you pretty much just
Hold on, man. If this was Vince era, AJ and Bobby would not be happening.
Absolutely not.
Oh, no, I feel you, but I'm saying like what you said, like, oh yeah, DQ finish tag team match. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like
Yeah.
that sounds like Vince because he don't want to beat nobody.
Like another pointless booking.
With over the years, I was just always confused with like what superstars he liked and didn't like because like AJ Styles comes in, but he likes AJ Styles. So I'm like, why do you like AJ? But you don't like Samoa Joe?
He's undeniable, bro. He's
But it's,
undeniable.
but it's only certain people that are like, why do you like AJ but you don't like Samoa Joe? Like what's like I don't understand. Like it's just
I don't
like,
understand either. But the thing is with
I just
AJ
feel like
Styles,
there's
he's
certain
undeniable.
But even then, so when if you guys heard when AJ got interviewed, it was some time ago. But he got interviewed about his 2016
There we
debut
go.
at the Royal Rumble,
Yeah, Lewis was the one who told
and
me.
fucking AJ after he got eliminated by Kevin Owens, I believe, right after lasting 30 minutes, he goes backstage, and the first thing Vince tells him was that reaction was a fluke. Like
Disrespect.
he said that reaction was a fluke, and I'm pretty sure Malik, you told me this. Vince had plans to make this dude a fucking mid Carter, bro.
he
A
was
fucking
supposed to
mid
be
Carter.
I mean, he lost to Chris Jericho.
That's what I'm saying. I love
He lost
Jericho,
to
but
Chris
like,
Jericho.
come on.
Which, if we look at it at a storyline,
he upgraded from that though.
I mean, he did. But if we look at that match from a storyline perspective, I mean, AJ already did beat Jericho in a sense, so it kind of made sense for Jericho to get one on. But I would have preferred Jericho to beat AJ leading up to a match at Mania, then have a trilogy. But I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on that. I'm kind of iffy.
And that didn't bother me because he upgraded from that. And for me, once he beat John Cena at SummerSlam, that's when I knew. Like,
Oh
they
yeah,
did-
yeah. Okay, yeah, for sure.
elevated,
But
yeah.
but up until that point, we were. I think I wasn't a hardcore fan because I didn't know who he was. But if I was thinking the way I do now, with like knowing who comes from where, I would have been like, man, I'm worried for AJ, man, because he been working so hard to get here, and they about to make him be nothing. But then he beat John Cena at SummerSlam, and I was like, honestly, I feel like that was a Cena call. You know what I mean?
People don't give Cena
'Cause-
credit. Back in the day, Cena was the Nexus, for example, but
Yeah, it didn't change until later years because there was I saw a TikTok video of his WrestleMania record, and I was like, dang, this man's really 10-5. But like the last couple of WrestleMania he lost was the Fiend in that Firefly Funhouse and the Undertaker in the Squash. So before that, I'm like, wow, he's got 3 losses. One of them was to the Miz, one of them was to The Rock. You know what I mean? And one of them was a Randy Orton triple threat. I'm like, man, he should not have that.
Some shit that scared me. Some shit that scared me was, you guys remember on SmackDown the first time ever match between Nakamura and Cena where Cena fucked up Nakamura's back body drop, and what scared me was that I felt like Vince was gonna see that and think Nakamura is clumsy and try to end John Cena and shit. But what I did like is John Cena took accountability, was like, nah, Vince, like, that was on me. That was my bad. Because I thought that was going to ruin the Nakamura push right there. And I'm like, damn.
It probably did. In Vince's mind, he still probably thought that. Fuck it.
He's like, man, fuck that, man. Cena don't know what he's talking about.
I think it's more so that was like, if you look at certain matches or like the John Cena matches at WrestleMania, like, all the people he beat were either already solidified or just part of the story. Like his first 2 matches, when he beat the Big Show, that's for the U.S. title that helped elevate Cena. And then you look at the JBL match, that was his time to win it. Triple H and Shawn, that was to solidify him as he's the guy now. Like John Cena is our guy now. And then he beat Edge and Big Show in triple threat. Okay, cool. Beat Batista at WrestleMania. Batista was leaving anyway, so it's like he ain't gonna be the champion no more. So it's like, and I just feel like now it's this. We need more stars like that where they feel important, like the Cenas and the Romans. Like, you need more guys like that to help build other people up. You know what I mean? Because like back when I was growing up and we was all growing up, like there were multiple people you could trade in the main event spot. It was Triple H and then it would be John Cena, then Batista, and then you throw Edge in there. And Orton. It's like Jeff Hardy, and it's like, brother, Matt, what
we definitely do need more nowadays is, like you said, more main event guys that feel like a big deal. Like, for example, whoever beats Roman, we feel like should be a big ass star, right? So what I would like to see is kind of like a repeating cycle. So whoever beats Roman, for example, Drew McIntyre got to be this big ass star. Drew McIntyre holds the belt on for a little bit, and then who beats him? Boom, Karrion Kross. So with that case, you already have two main legit guys. You got 2 more guys, and then whoever beats Karrion Kross, boom, another big star. You just keep cycling it, and then we're not going to run out of stars.
Yeah, usually the person who, because I feel like the person who usually holds the title should feel like a big deal, and even though I don't think we're ever gonna get back to the ruthless aggression era where you had, like, even though they eventually got Cena to be the main guy. But you had Kurt Angle when he was still here. You had Brock. You had Randy, Batista, Edge. You know, all these 10-time multiple world champions, stuff like that. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that because in today's age, in social media age, if somebody wins the title 5 times, they might turn on them. You know what I mean? So I don't know if we'll ever get back to that. But because y'all mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. Because, you know, Triple H is signing all these guys who got released unfairly and all that stuff. I think he needs to get Sasha and Naomi back. He needs to get Johnny Gargano. He needs to get Bray Wyatt. And me personally, I would stop. I would stop right there. Because you're going to run into the same problem I'm criticizing AEW for. Stop. Go get Bray. Go get Johnny. And go get Sasha and Naomi. And stop. And build everybody up from there.
There's one more guy they got to go get.
I agree with you. Who? Because I just said that the other day. Because it's like you're bringing all these guys.
Braun
Strowman. We need that legit big man.
Now
Braun Strowman was legit, bro. They ruined him.
Oh yeah, what?
Yeah,
Cody. Cody's another one where I don't want Cody to get lost in the shuffle.
He won't because I still think he's winning the Rumble when he get back. I still believe he's winning the Rumble when he gets back. I still see that too. I think that's the plan regardless. To be honest,
like Cody Rhodes is a Triple H guy.
But that's what I'm saying. They need to stop. Like
Cody Rhodes. He actually. I think he'll be good. Cody Rhodes will be all
right. G baby, I want to touch up on what you said. So G baby mentioned that we had guys in the Ruthless era that were like 10, 11, 12-time world champions. You know, looking back at it now, but. You know, we also don't need guys like that. Like, for example, what solidified Eddie Guerrero? You know what I'm saying? He only held the WWE Championship one time. But what solidified him? He beat Brock Lesnar. Even though he only had that one title reign, what solidified him to be a staple on SmackDown, and he's on my Mount Rushmore in SmackDown history. What solidified him to be a staple is the fact he beat Brock Lesnar and the fact that he was so loved. You know what I'm saying?
He had a connection with the fans too.
He had connection with the fans. We don't need guys to have multiple world title runs. Like, for example, me, if Johnny Gargano comes back and has a big ass storyline where he's chasing the WWE Championship and he wins it, that to me, done. He doesn't need another world title. He had that great ass storyline. He's WWE champion. If he loses it, I'm okay. You can put him in the mid card for the rest of his career. You know what I'm saying? There's certain guys that I feel like are better chasing the title and making that moment than just repeatedly winning it. And Eddie Guerrero, to me, he did a great job chasing it, did a great job holding it, but he only needed that one title reign. Although he was going to beat Batista, going to beat Batista for the world title, but he didn't need that world title. He was fine with just that one reign.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that as well.
I mean, obviously the booking and everything comes into it too, but like they did stuff with Eddie Guerrero. Like after he lost the title to JBL, he did his little thing with JBL, but then he had his feud with Kurt Angle. And then after that, he did the stuff with Rey Mysterio. So it's like he did consistent stuff that felt important. If you're going to lose a championship, all you got to do is just put people in stories that make them feel important to the product. You know what I mean? Like, champion all the time, but like that's what I'm kind of hoping they do with the mid-card titles. Like when John Cena was doing the U.S. Open Challenge, like he made the United States Championship feel bigger than the world title at some point. Like he made the United States Championship feel important to the product. You know what I mean? Like we need more of that. And to do that, you have to build up more stars too, because when somebody like John Cena holds the mid-card title, he's somebody that can try to help elevate up the guy because he's already been the world champion. He's already made it at WrestleMania. He's already done it all. So I mean, he's done everything.
And then who finally beat him for that United States Championship?
Alberto Del fucking Rio.
Oh yeah, I forgot
he was
about
the
that.
one.
It was.
I mean, I liked Alberto when he was there, but I forgot.
No. The first time around, it was Seth. The second time around, it was Del Rio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Seth beat it. Yeah,
It was Seth.
Seth
beat him at SummerSlam in the
and I'll argue when Seth did it, that put Seth in the stratosphere. I was like, that was crazy.
Yes, sir.
I was like, wow, they really put both titles on her. That's crazy. But
next.
No, yeah, I feel you. But yeah, just what you were saying earlier, like I don't think they should either. I don't think there's people that need to be like that because like what you said, like as long as, or like what Malik said as well, as long as you got consistent stories and like you ain't got to be on TV every week, but you got to feel important. Yes. Like I'm cool with that. And then also too, just in today's world, the second somebody wins the title a little too much, they're overbooking him and they're making him too strong and like Cody Rhodes won the TNT like 3 times and they already was turning on him. Like they're like, oh, he doesn't need the title. Like in today's world, nobody wants to see
so much hate.
Another guy.
I mean, but Charlotte is overdone though. Charlotte is overdone though. But
I point still stands. Charlotte, I'm not gonna lie.
But they did the same.
People did like Charlotte. People did like Charlotte, but now
they did the same.
I love some Charlotte. She won another belt. I'm like, hey.
They did the same. They did the same. I feel like in this era, like people like. It's cool in the moment, but like after the moment, they're like, "What's next?" Already. But it's like, damn, like they just got the moment. Like, can we get a run? Can we like?
It's for real. Like they want microwave storylines.
Another guy I feel the same way about that didn't need multiple world title runs. Sorry, Axe, but Jeff Hardy, that WWE Championship, just the lead up and just having him win, that should have like. I'm not saying that should have been the end of Jeff for the world title picture, but like that was. Perfect
How many
title
runs
win.
Does he have?
I think he has 2 with the big gold and 1 with the WWE.
Yeah. But I gotta disagree with that a little bit because they never made his title runs meaningful. He only held it for like a month every time he had it.
Bro, he won the WWE Championship, had the rematch with Edge. Oh, yeah. You know what? Let's do brother versus brother this time because Matt lost his world championship. So they fucked that shit over.
Yeah.
Then they have him beat Edge amazingly, put him between the ladder, world championship, and then like CM Punk comes. It's like
to me I'm
not gonna lie, the CM Punk story was great though. The CM Punk story was great though.
It was because he got
to me in the WWE mold. To me in the WWE mold, I see Jeff as those guys I put in the category of they're better at chasing the title than keeping the title. This is TNA, Jeff, completely different story, but I felt like him chasing that WWE championship and getting that moment, I felt like that was
if you're a
perfect.
long-time fan like me, when he was in that moment, you remember Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker for the Undisputed Championship.
Oh yeah,
and it's like
But-
you remembered that, and it's like, and like you said, the chasing it.
Jeff versus Matt should have been for the title, though. I don't know what the fuck.
And that's what I don't understand, because it would have been
for the
nice
title.
Matt
Because
coming
they
in.
didn't view Matt at that level.
exactly.
They didn't. I don't think.
Even though he was
Then once again, this is where Vince would cast these hands,
Hardy
man.
would've been different.
But their promotion, but no.
Yeah, but that's third
You know
promotion.
what I mean? It's like
Vince
not
didn't
even
care
a
about
little
that third. But Vince
You don't
didn't
care
care
about
about that third.
ECW, bro.
Oh, he cared enough when he had the do-rag on and had the title, though, right?
Man,
Yeah,
ECW,
that's what it'll be like.
ECW was like, you want a world title? Come here. You want one?
Yeah.
Come here. Jack Swagger, you want? Come here.
The only
man.
time they ever made
Oh,
the
yeah.
ECW title.
Oh, you remember that?
There's only 2 times they ever made the ECW title feel important. When they gave it to RVD for the first time, and when they gave it to Bobby Lashley and tried to insert him to the Undertaker storyline, but like you knew he wasn't gonna pick Bobby Lashley out of John Cena.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm taking the ECW title. Come on now.
But at least they made it feel important though, because Bobby Lashley
yeah.
he felt on the level, but it was still the ECW. Like it's the EC.
And I know there was a particular.
So Durag Vince didn't make it feel important?
I still feel.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Durag Vince made it feel important, man. He's Durag Vince, man.
Yeah, do
I'm
that
sorry,
take that belt and just rub like a
Baby,
toilet paper.
G baby,
Okay.
don't tell me you hated Durag Vince, bro.
Oh no, I'm not even tripping that. I was just gonna say, I feel like personally, like I don't care what people say. I feel like we should have had Undertaker versus Cena twice. I feel like we could have had it that year, and Undertaker wins, and then if you don't want to put over Cena, fine. But that should have happened way before it did.
I feel like that year, Cena, Batista, and Undertaker was the right thing, because that was
it was the right decision.
They would have.
Yeah, it was the right decision, but Cena should have came a year after or something.
But they would have had to have Cena win though. Like that's where Cena was at that point. So it was like your streak now. You know, it was, and who's gonna be the heel?
It wouldn't make sense.
Undertaker could play the heel, but it's like it was just at that moment.
No, fair enough. That's fair. I hear y'all.
It
It's
wouldn't
just
make sense.
I think they really dropped the ball in later years when Cena became a bigger star, not doing the streak versus career. Like this the streak versus like John Cena. Like they could have did like. Say they could have did the year at WrestleMania 27, like even though they did Undertaker versus Triple H, but like they gave us Cena versus Miz. Like nobody care about that. Like you could have gave Undertaker and Cena that year.
I mean, that main event was literally like one of the few times in WrestleMania history where they literally just had a match to set up another story.
Yeah,
that's literally the only purpose of that match was to set up Rock Cena. Like there was no other purpose for that match.
Yeah, there was no other purpose. They was so high on Cena that they brought fucking Brock Lesnar back and then just make Brock Lesnar lose, bro. Brock Lesnar should have beat the shit out of Cena at Extreme.
You know what's crazy?
Did he win? Did he win, Malik?
Hey, you spitting because you know what's crazy? They told a whole story that whole year of I couldn't get over my loss to The Rock. I just kept losing. But his one win was against Brock Lesnar of all people. That was his one win.
My thing is though, like how he beat Brock Lesnar, but he lost to John Laurinaitis. Come on, bro. Like make that
make sense.
That makes sense.
He lost every like the reason he won the Rumble, that was his whole promo like in the new year. Look, I couldn't get over my loss to The Rock. I lost every single match I was done. Hey, but you know what? It's a new year. I'm gonna win the Rumble and I'm gonna get back to my winning ways, which is what he did. But like, bruh, like there was no reason. There was no reason.
Bro, hold on,
the Big Show.
Cena was out here losing to Lord Tenzai, bro.
Come on now.
Hey, we not gonna act like Tenzai wasn't top notch back then though. He was bringing that man strong.
About A-Train.
With the green mist. And now I see him as a coach, and it's crazy.
And he was winning matches that didn't make sense. Like, it was kind of wishy washy. But then, like,
he was losing all the title matches and like the big one. He was losing all of those, and then he was losing the dumb feuds with the people power. He was losing those, and I was like.
Bro, CM Punk was owning his ass too every time. Like
he ain't need the Shield to do it. And he didn't need the Shield to do it either. Like this was pre CM Punk got the Shield in my back pocket. Like that was pre all of that.
Bro, that finish at Night of Champions, bro, angered me so much, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The German when he Germaned him and they did the double pin.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Why can't he just win the win, bro? Like, just have him win if he's gonna win.
Yeah, they always gotta make it so convoluted, bro.
And I said WrestleMania 29, it should have been a triple threat between Punk, fucking Via and Cena. Yes, I called.
Yeah, but twice in a lifetime, Cena had to get his win back.
Oh yeah, twice in a lifetime, right?
Yes.
They really did some
screwed over Punk just for that.
They made in between there, like that could have been made a lot better. Like definitely once in a lifetime should have been once in a lifetime. That's only the time.
And then Cena should have went over at one.
Yeah, I was like, they could have easily saved that. Cena could have won. And then, hey, even if you want to have him beat Brock when he gets back, cool. That next WrestleMania main event is CM Punk versus John Cena.
Hell no, I still don't think it was. I still think Brock should have beaten the dog shit out of him and win, man.
Oh no, I'm with you. No, don't get me wrong. So am I. But even if you want to do that, even if you want to have him still win, hey, there's a different story to it because I just beat The Rock after talking all that mess, so I'm confident I can beat anybody. And then Cena, CM Punk, bro, Cena, CM Punk, WrestleMania 29 main event.
That would have been huge, bro.
It would have.
Hold on. Here's what don't make sense. No wrestling. It doesn't have to make sense. Here's what don't make sense to me, right? So, Brock beats fucking. It's so weird when I say his name like this. Brock beats Rock. Rock beats Cena, but Cena beats Brock. It makes no fucking I'm confused. What kryptonite is happening? I'm confused.
They really
Do you get what I'm? You see what I'm saying?
It was just backwards though. Like when he lost to Cena, he broke Triple H's arm, and then he broke Triple H's arm again, and then he was beating everybody else from his place. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the crazy thing. Triple H was getting his ass whooped by Brock Lesnar every time.
Oh my god!
It was crazy.
Match, but even
bro, he broke Sean's arm, bro.
Yeah.
It was going backwards with the booking. It was wish-washy here and there between certain things and certain angles. But I mean, at least it was still watchable back then. Back before.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as it was as of late. Yeah. Week to week TV was somewhat still enjoyable, for the most part.
Yep.
But
I mean, I do feel like now though. Give me some people that you guys have high hopes for now of getting pushed under the Triple H era. Maybe some people either that could be revived, or people that we haven't seen get pushed yet.
All right, so let's do both of them then. Why not? Let's do both
revival wise. Listen, Shayna Baszler and Shinsuke Nakamura. I need it, bro. I need it. I need both.
Yeah, Shayna needs a Mania win.
Nakamura. I'm not too worried about Bobby Roode anymore. I just feel like he's just there, and if they want to revive him, that's cool. But if I had to pick two people, Shayna Baszler and Shinsuke Nakamura would be my two. Now, as far as people getting pushed, I really think they're going to push Gunther now. I didn't think they were going to at first under Vince, but now that Triple H is in charge, I think high hopes for him. He definitely could be somebody I can see being world champion in the future. And for the women, I'm going to a new fresh woman. I'm going to still say Raquel, even though she hasn't really done a little bit much yet, but I still think she's going to be one of the top stars.
She's just a smiling baby face right now, but
she's over though. Did y'all see her on SmackDown?
She is over.
I was about to say
NXT. Oh my god!
And shout out to Triple H for starting SmackDown like that. A women's tag team with women that don't get no more than 2 minutes on TV, and they started, and it worked.
But Raquel was over when she got tagged in. Raquel got some loud ass.
Because I was gonna say, even when Vince was in charge, they were taking a route that they don't really do. They brought her up. They had her have a great showing against Ronda, but closely lose. Yep. And then they just kept having her win. That's all they kept doing was just kept having her win. She ain't been pinned. And the only time she lost was in a gauntlet match. So I personally think that before Triple H got there, they were it's just SmackDown's women's division is the worst one out of all three. Unfortunately.
Right.
It's still better than AEW's, but it's the worst one out of all three, so she just kind of seemed like she was just there because there was nothing for her to do. But I feel y'all. So as far as revived, Shayna Baszler for me is one. She needs to win at Mania. I don't care what people say. She needs to beat Liv at Mania, or whatever. I just need her to win. And Finn Balor.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Because he went
Yes.
to NXT twice, and I would argue his second run was better than the first one. And no Demon Finn was better than the first one, I would argue. They brought him up to the main roster. No. I hear you. No, I get you. I know everybody loves Demon. I know everybody loves Demon Finn Balor.
It's not the Demon. Just look at the time Finn Balor was in NXT the first time. At the time, he was the longest reigning NXT champion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he was the inaugural Dusty Cup winner and had the most takeover wins in history at that time, man.
Absolutely.
That's tough. I can see.
hear y'all.
If we're talking about from a match standpoint and character standpoint, I can see. But run though.
Oh, I hear y'all. I hear
that
y'all.
one.
But he went back to NXT, and I just felt he had like a chip on his shoulder. Like it was just like I'm out here to prove. He came back up to the main roster, and he had like 2 months where that was like because Finn was like, nah, if y'all gonna bring me up, hey, I need to be a main event. I'm not dealing with that crap. And then they had him lose. Like as soon as they brought back Demon Finn Balor for Extreme Rules, I was like, they're really about to have Roman beat Demon Finn Balor.
I didn't like
Extreme
that.
Rules.
I didn't.
They
like
sacrificed him just for them to face each other, just for Roman and Brock to face each other at Saudi Arabia. You believe this crap?
I didn't like the whole like I understand like making Roman look like he's unstoppable, but newsflash, he was already unstoppable. So I don't get the whole like
Yeah, like Finn could have lost twice as normal Finn, and you could have saved Demon Finn Balor for another time. But he's the one I want to get revived. He
should have
like,
saved Demon Finn Balor for Karrion Kross. This was the
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Yeah, I feel you.
That would have been perfect. Oh,
I know with Triple H in charge, I believe it'll change. So I'm glad. Like I know they needed to lose at SummerSlam just because Edge coming back. Good guy is great. I think Triple H is going with a slow, methodical approach to make Finn Balor feel as like a true main event threat again. And I think it's gonna start by separating the Mysterios or having Dom do some crazy stuff or turn something. I just believe that Triple H is gonna make Shayna Baszler and Finn Balor world heavyweight champions at some point. Shayna sooner than Finn, but I think they're both gonna be champions. As far as new faces on the men's side, I genuinely believe Riddle has a really good chance of because I think he was solidified himself as a main eventer, but Vince was trying to push him back down. I don't know if he's gonna win a world title anytime soon, but I think he has a chance. Like I think he's gonna beat Seth at Clash of the Castle. That's what I think. I think even though Seth has been losing a lot, like the big ones, I think Seth will eventually end up going to SmackDown to face Roman in this draft. So that'll be a feud. So I think Riddle, Seth not being there anymore, will have a chance to really elevate. And on the women's side, man, I love me some Io Shirai. Like I'm glad that they're in a stable, and I can't wait for Dakota Kai and Io Shirai to be tag team champions. I can't wait for them to be tag team champions because I'm sorry, Nikita Lyons, Zoe Stark ain't winning. And as much as I love Asuka and Alexa Bliss, it makes no sense for them to win. So once Io and Dakota Kai win their tag team champions and go on this little run, and when they finally break up this stable, Io Shirai needs to be a world champion.
Listen, and I'm for Bailey. I'm the biggest Bianca fan, but I'm for Bailey winning the title, and I'm cool with Control all having gold. I'm cool with it because if you're gonna make a statement like that at SummerSlam, it's got to be a big payoff.
But I don't know if Bailey's gonna win the title only because Bianca, she can't have two short runs back to back. She can't have two short runs, bro. Like
the only thing that makes me not think that is because Triple H is in charge now. Because that's a Vince call.
They can build all the way to
WrestleMania. I'm used to Vince calls, so that would be a Vince thing. But let's see. But I'm not against Control having all of it. I'm cool with Bailey. So, but we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah,
but y'all know, there's one person that I want to see get pushed, bro. And that's Theory, man. It still gotta be there, bro. It still gotta be there, bro.
I'm with it. I'm one of the few people that like Theory. Like as soon as he got inserted, I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna win it. I was like, he's gonna win it. It makes sense. I like it. Because I knew it'll be a long reign. I was like, he ain't gonna cash in at no SummerSlam. Like, They kept overblowing it. I'm like, y'all really think he's gonna cash in? He's
but
not.
People don't see it. It's like we know he's not gonna do it, but they still put him into the story to where he made the promo package for the match.
Yeah, he did.
Like,
he did. He sure did.
Like people don't see that part though. It's like, oh, he didn't cash in. Oh, he's not Mr. Money in the Bank. No, he was part of the biggest match of SummerSlam. Like, yeah, they just don't see it, bro. They just don't see it.
And everybody's like, well, that's a Vince guy. I'm like, he technically was a Triple H guy first, because what did Triple H do the second he came back down? Put him with Johnny.
Yeah, that's right.
Put him with Johnny. Like he was still repping when he was up at first. He was still repping his the way, like the way stuff until Johnny, left.
Yeah.
Like he was still repping that for months. So like I would say that's a Triple H guy too. And I think putting him with Johnny is the only reason Theory has like a really good chance of because I think Johnny did wonders for Austin Theory. I think his promos, his character work is all due to Johnny. Like I think that's the first feud when Johnny comes back. I think that's the first storyline when Johnny comes back. I'm here for it because I think it's just gonna be a masterpiece. I think it's gonna be a masterpiece.
I told Lewis because he likes Theory, he likes Karrion. Gargano's one of his favorites. I said this ain't gonna happen, but Karrion wins the WWE Championship. Then Johnny comes back, then he wins it, and we just what it. Austin Theory cashing in on Johnny Gargano, bro.
Yo,
and with Triple H in charge, but with Triple H in charge, we gonna get that video package of them at NXT and in the way.
Yes.
Oh my god. Woo.
Yo, y'all making me too excited about this.
Yeah, I know. I'm so ready.
We gonna get excited. The next thing you know, Baron Corbin's like, "Hey,
all right, man.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
let me get my pushes out the way." Obviously, I think the Puerto Rican God, man, Karen Cross, man, you already know the vibes. He's gonna win one. Women's side, Raquel, Shayna, Io. You know what I'm saying? And in terms of revitalize, man, Finn Balor's one of them. I kind of got an off the wall one. I want to say the Miz. You can make a very awesome babyface with Miz. Not Miz being a babyface, but I think you can build a really good babyface with the hands of the Miz. You know what I'm saying? He can elevate somebody.
Oh, you mean like elevate another
babyface?
Got you.
Ones. Daniel freaking Bryan, bro. He helped elevate that man too.
Did he really though? Wait. Did he really though?
Back then, how hated the Miz was though, because he wasn't respected like he was now.
I feel you.
Like he was now.
I feel you.
My boy was changing in the bathroom.
I don't think he elevated. I don't think he elevated Daniel Bryan to main event. I think WWE just had no choice.
Babyface.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I mean Daniel Bryan's first Daniel Bryan's first United States win was over the Miz. So in that sense, I get you.
That's Night of Champions, right?
Yeah, I was like, because then the next night, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Zack Ryder all came out.
Bro, that's when Zack Ryder got smoked. That's when he got smoked.
That moment.
What about you, Henry? What about you, man?
All right. So as far as reviving careers, I see Brandon L. Jordan said that it breaks my heart none of you have said Ricochet. I was gonna mention Ricochet as part of the revival because Ricochet, I don't know if you guys have seen it in Lucha Underground, who was known as Prince Puma. He was amazing. His NXT run was amazing. I seen him. I was at Takeover Brooklyn 4 when he was facing Adam Cole for the North American title. Blew my mind.
Kick to the chin.
Blew my mind. But his career needs to be like revived ASAP.
Yeah,
like he's having a good story. He's having a feud with Happy Corbin, but it has to. Like it disappoints me how a guy like him has a run with the US title, but then gets squashed. Has an opportunity to look good against Brock Lesnar, but instead they book him to squash. Like it bothers me with a talent like Ricochet not used properly.
I mean, Vince does that with all his small talents.
Gave him the IC title to do what have feuds with Angel Garza.
Yeah, like bro, he lost two. I was on SmackDown at Barclays Center. He lost to Garza and Humberto Carrillo. I'm like, bro, what the hell are you doing? And I'm gonna be with Narco on this one. Nakamura, he needs it. He needs it.
It's
Shayna,
starting, though.
Yeah, starting. He had a hell of.
main
Oh
event-
my
that
god,
main
y'all saw
event.
that? Oh my god. Oh
Yeah.
my
Bro,
lord.
we won't
Walter said, that
truly
was
see
wrestling, bro.
the revitalization of Nakamura if we don't hear in the beginning the dun, 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 dun,
Nah,
dun,
but
like,
hey, I think all these people were talking about getting revitalized. Watch them switch brands. I would not be surprised if Nakamura hit. If Nakamura goes to Raw,
should go to
he's the
Raw.
next U.S. champion. He's the next U.S. champion. Easy.
And Shayna Baszler, she needs it. I know we spoke about this in the show, but she needs it. It disappoints me how Vince McMahon and the rest of these jabronis booked her and handle her. She needs it. I'm hoping she does win the SmackDown Women's title. I doubt it, but she definitely needs that revival. She definitely needs that revival career. Now, as far as pushing is concerned, my boy Cross, I'm disappointed he might not come in 2 weeks in New York because he was scheduled to face Low Key at House of Glory. That is out of the window. But he needs it after what Vince did to him in the main roster. He needs that push. He definitely needs that push. Anyone who was in the main roster and then never had that push definitely needs it, because it's time to show these audience that watch WWE on a week-to-week basis, like, we have stars. We have people that you will definitely like, But there was in a sideline for so long because Vince McMahon was so concerned about his favoritism and people that are like box office and things of that nature. But now that he is gone and Triple H is the leader of everything, we're definitely going to see new stars, career reviving. I'm just excited to see what WWE is going to do from here on out.
Oh, I have one more name. I have one more name.
24/7 championship too.
Yeah.
Just
We don't need
rid of
that.
Anybody involved in that, like, we need tag teams. Just make some tag, like, bruh, even that.
Nah, because what I was gonna say,
bring back ladder matches, good ass ladder matches, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I know I said that they should stop after certain people. There's one more name, because I 100% believe if they can get this person back, she would make a great babyface storyline to win a championship off of a dominant heel like a Charlotte, or when they finally put it on Shayna. Man, I hope Triple H brings back Tegan Nox. I hope and pray that they bring back Tegan Nox. Because if they bring back Tegan Nox, oh my goodness. Put her on SmackDown. Send her to SmackDown. Send Alexa Bliss over to SmackDown as well. Fix that SmackDown Women's Division. Balance it out, because right now it's crazy uneven.
Right.
And then I don't think Shayna Baszler should win right now. I think they need to build her up and give her a little bit more character work before. But once she does win, like, I believe in Tegan Nox so much. When I was playing like WWE, like my universe and all that stuff, that was the storyline I would book. Tegan Nox would be the baby face, like, bringing up to take over that monster. I just think she's a natural like not to the same level. But Bayley 2015, I feel like Tegan Nox can be that. Not to the same level, because Bayley was crazy. Bayley was the female John Cena at one point when John Cena was first over. But I think Tegan Nox can be that just genuine babyface, like almost a Liv, but just a better wrestler. Because I think she's a genuinely better wrestler than Liv. I think she could be just that organic, genuine. People would be like genuinely root for. And like, so when she gets that big win over a monster heel, crazy. That's who else I want. That's who else I want to see get pushed.
Go ahead, Henry.
All right. I don't know. I don't know if you guys mentioned a tag team, but there's a tag team that needs a revive. I mean, it's starting. The Viking Raiders. Like, these guys are overlooked. These guys were overlooked.
They gave the NXT tag titles as undefeated when they got called up.
Before this whole NXT, these guys were ridiculous.
War Machine.
Before the NXT.
Whatever they were called.
War Raiders.
The War Raiders.
They were going to war
the War
with
Machines.
the
The War
Briscoes.
Machines.
They were going to war with the Briscoes and Ring of Honor.
Yeah, they were known as War Machines before signing with WWE.
Yeah,
they need a revived career, because these guys, if you guys get a chance to see them before going to WWE, these guys can go. So they definitely need a revive career, especially for that tag team division.
I mean, they starting it now. Just stop calling them vicious.
A person I would love to see come back for the women. A person I would love to see come back for the women's division. And it kind of surprised me, but man, I would love to see Taya Valkyrie of Frankie Monet come back. I think she could be a hell of an addition for the women's roster.
But aren't they signed to anywhere or no?
Yeah, I think they. I know. I think they.
She occasionally shows up on Impact. She occasionally,
Yeah,
but she's mainly AAA though.
Yeah, she's in AAA, Impact here and there.
But is she like officially like signed like with like she have a contract with any of them?
She kind of has
so I
like
think with AAA,
it's like a handshake.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a handshake.
Yeah, it's a handshake contract. It's really not like
What about John?
they're fully signed.
I know he's under contract somewhere.
Nah, he's jumping from indie to
Yeah,
indie.
he's everywhere. Yeah,
He's everywhere.
Well, they could probably bring those back too. I thought Taya Valkyrie when she was Frankie Monet, I thought they were gonna do something with her. You know what I'm saying? But then
She looked like a Vince girl. Like
Yeah.
everything Vince wanted. Like she looked like a Vince girl.
Hey, now you gotta remember. Hey, you gotta remember. Vince don't like.
Hold on,
Vince
man.
like him young though. You gotta remember Vince likes him young. So
Man,
Valkyrie.
I was like Vince don't really rock with the older age. Like
Man,
Yeah,
Taya
true.
Valkyrie, she with that age, man. Stop playing.
Nah, she fire. I ain't gonna hold you. She fire.
Man, I'll go with that. Man.
This guy over
some people in the chat are saying bringing back the Hurt Business too. Bring back the Hurt Business. They had so much potential too.
as a baby face though,
They dropped the ball with these guys, man. I ain't gonna.
I'm
hold
kind
you.
of over it now, to be honest.
They-
I'm kind of
they
over
hurt-
it
they
now.
hurt me
How do you
with
have
that,
them
bro.
hold all the gold and then fucking break them up? What are we doing here, man?
Because Vince
hurt
doesn't
me,
like,
man.
unless you're like Roman or like somebody he really really likes. Vince does not like, if he's gonna put you in the world title scene. If you got a team or whatever the case, he's gonna get rid of you. The New Day are the modern day exceptions. Cause Big E, I mean, Kofi for sure won it while they were there. But Big E was still like, he didn't turn on them. He was just on a different brand. But they were still a team, and like when Big E won that title, they celebrated with him.
Yeah.
So that's like the modern day exception. But them breaking up a team before they give you that world, because honestly, once I saw it coming, I was like, okay, so then Bobby Lashley's winning the WWE title. That's all that's telling me right there, is that they're gonna put the world title on him, because he had a really good run with the U.S. title. You know what I mean? And he had a great match with Drew for the first time for the championship. So I was like, okay, this is where we're going. Like, okay, that makes sense. Like, so, but that's what, I'm not saying this right, but that's what Vince likes to do. If you got a team around you, or if he wants to push you into a main star, that's why he started the Street Profits dissension. Because I believe he wanted to make Montez Ford a star, and in his mind, you can't have a star and have guys around you, unless you're like Roman. You know what I mean? But like, it's really rare where he has people around you for long, or you can't be part of a team and just be a champion. He doesn't believe in that. Now with Triple H you can, but
All right, before we get off here, we're gonna play a little game called Pick Between the Two, and then we're gonna sign off. So basically, I'm gonna name two wrestlers. You got to tell me which wrestler you think is better overall, whose legacy is better overall. You think about promos, in-ring wise, all the above. Mix it all together. Who's the better between the two? So that's how you got to base it off of. Pick between the two.
Wait. Say it again. Like, is it this or that? Pick between the two. Who's better?
Yeah, you just got to pick who's better overall. Who's better?
Yeah.
You don't have to explain why. You just say the name and you move on. You don't have to explain. Then you just say the name and we move on from there. There are 10 of them, so I'll start from the top. Roman Reigns or CM Punk? We'll start with G. You go first, and then we'll go in order.
I'm going Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, man.
Go ahead, Henny. We'll just keep going in order.
I'm gonna be with G Baby on this one. Roman Reigns.
Fuck Roman, CM Punk.
CM Punk.
Chris Jericho or Kurt Angle?
Ooh, Chris Jericho for me. This got to be Chris for me.
Oh man, I love you, Chris, but I'm gonna go with Kurt.
Y'all saw TNA Kurt? Enough said.
Even though the overbooking is crazy, the things he's still doing, bro, I gotta give it to Jericho.
AJ Styles or Rey Mysterio?
You said better overall. So I'm gonna go AJ, but
Nah, the phenomenal one. Come on now.
Bring out the brooms. Bring out the brooms. Bring out the brooms.
619. Let me stop. It's AJ.
Bring out the broom. Bring out the broom.
Edge or Randy Orton?
I mean,
Dog.
nah, that's crazy.
I'm gonna get my answer out the way. Randy Orton.
Yeah, Randy Orton. I'm sorry.
Nah, because Edge is iconic for me, but I think I'm going to have to go Randy barely, though.
We getting the broom out again, Axe? We getting the broom out again?
I don't think so.
yeah.
Bring out the broom. Spam broom in the chat. Bring out the
Randy's just like too
broom.
much, bruh.
John Cena or Brock Lesnar?
Cena. Cena,
It's
man.
Three-peat.
Y'all know.
All right.
Y'all know Cena my goat, bruh. That's
Listen, I respect Cena.
Cena.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm the one gonna break this joint. I'm gonna go with Brock Lesnar. I'm sorry.
Bro, we're not doing the sweep, bro. We're not doing the three-peat.
Listen, I
no
respect
sweep.
Cena, but Lesnar was the guy in his prime, bro. Lesnar was the guy. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, we're not doing three-peat, man. Damn.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
almost.
Almost had him. Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley?
This
Drew.
guy.
Drew.
I got Bobby Lashley.
Bobby. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm going with Bobby. Because when I say Bobby, all I see is him drenched in like a bunch of gold. So
The Impact when he won every Impact title.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, so y'all counting like out there too.
said
I'm
all-
just looking at WWE.
he said
Overall, I said overall.
Yeah, I
He
get
said
you, but I
overall.
mean, I didn't know Bobby and Impact and all that stuff.
Right,
so I'm
right,
just
right.
going.
You hurting my soul, man. Like, what's hurting my soul?
so
I love you,
beautiful.
man. You're hurting me, man.
I didn't watch it as it happened, but I went back. It was beautiful.
Bray Wyatt or Finn Balor?
Oh my
Come
god!
Wow.
I'm sorry.
That's a
Y'all got
hell.
one. I'm going with Finn. I don't care. I'm done with y'all.
So we got one Finn Balor.
That's so tall.
It's gonna be bold. Prince motherfucking Devitt, man.
There you go.
We got two
Finn Balor. Finn Balor.
Oh, I'm sorry, that feed character just too good for me. I'm going Bray Wyatt.
Understandable.
That's so tall.
It's all good.
Who you pick, X?
Finn.
Finn Balor. Let's see. We got two here. Triple H or Stone Cold?
Oh my God! Why you gotta do this to me?
Bring out the broom. Bring out the broom.
I'm
Bring out
going
the
Stone
broom.
Cold. I'm not gonna lie to
Stone
you.
Cold.
I'm
Bring out the
sorry.
broom. Bring out the broom. Don't make me bring my mom in here to make it full, yo.
You hurting me, Malik, but I gotta go Stone Cold, bro.
Stone Cold.
Come on, G baby, let's get
Oh,
the
wait,
sweep
we
going.
got two left. Jeff Hardy or Seth Rollins?
Seth Rollins.
Burn it down.
That's not, man.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
No.
I'm not gonna lie.
You talk about one of my all-time favorites versus one of my all-time favorites now, bro. Like,
No.
bro, that's
I'm not gonna
fair.
lie. I think Seth
That's not
Rollins
fair.
clears. To be honest, I think he
Whoa.
clears.
I
think
don't
he
know about
clears.
that. I don't know about that. I don't know about
I
that.
think he
WWE, for
Yo.
WWE, but
I
outside.
got Jeff.
Outside, not outside. I ain't gonna
yeah,
hold you.
bruh,
When it's all said and done, Seth. When it's all said and done, I think Seth is gonna be over Jeff. But as of right now, Jeff has done way too compared to Seth. What like?
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Influence-
count in the
compare
outside
influence.
stuff, yes.
Compare influence. Jeff clears, man.
Yeah.
What you mean?
I mean, personally, I'm not big on Jeff like everybody else is. So like,
I mean, you don't
like
have
Jeff is
to-
cool, but
But what you
I think
mean?
Seth clears.
TLC matches, man. That's all he. That's
No,
all he
I feel you.
has.
I feel you. I still think Seth clears.
If you would have seen TNA Jeff, I promise you would have
Yeah.
changed your answer.
The only thing I know about TNA Jeff is the day he showed up and couldn't compete. Yeah,
Bruh.
pay per view.
What?
That's genuinely the only thing I know about TNA Jeff.
You missed a lot of good stuff in TNA, Jeff. Well,
For
he
real.
had two phases of TNA, but the second phase was pretty OP.
Was a lot better. Was a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, did you give your answer,
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy?
You know my answer, bro.
Jeff Hardy.
You know my answer. bro. Come on.
Last one: Undertaker or Shawn Michaels?
Undertaker,
Man,
easy.
Undertaker is my goat. That is my
Undertaker,
goat.
easy.
Undertaker.
Ah.
Undertaker.
I'll
Greatest
take
of all
it.
time. Greatest of all time, bro.
Undertaker, easy to me.
Greatest of all time.
Dang.
Greatest of all time. Where Jason at? Undertaker. Undertaker. What? Undertaker. Stop playing with me.
Dang.
Take it. Come on. Come on, man. What are
HBK
we doing?
Undertaker, bro.
What
I
are we
gotta
doing
go
here?
with Taker. I gotta.
Yeah, I gotta give it to the dead man, bro. You like
Bring out
I
the
love
booze
Shawn
for that
Michaels.
one.
All right, so everybody gave their answers. Some of these were tough. Some of these were tough. Some of these, well, that's what it's meant to be. It's supposed to make you think. It's supposed to make you think.
That Balor and Bray one, that wasn't fun.
Yeah, that
wasn't
was.
fun.
Yeah, I'm still regret.
wasn't
I still
fun.
don't know if I want to go Bray or Finn right now.
That wasn't fun. That
I
wasn't
mean,
fun.
it could really go either way. I mean,
See, even the comments is.
Yeah, I know. I've fully accepted. Like, you know what? I know I didn't watch like I didn't know about New Japan and all that stuff, and I didn't watch TNA. Like, I knew TNA when it was on Spike and it sucked. Like, that's the TNA. That's the TNA I know. The one that sucked.
Nah, this is beyond me, bro. Don't say that.
I'm talking about the one. No, I'm talking about after like Hogan and them got there and
Oh,
like,
yeah,
just
that's
went
when it
down the
went
drain.
downhill. Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
TNA I know. So
Yeah.
I never watched it because it
Aces
sucked.
and
I
Eights
didn't
was
know.
fire though. Aces and
No,
Eights
it was.
fire.
It was.
Oh yeah,
Aces and Eights was
yeah.
fire.
But like I didn't know, so I didn't know about like all the other stuff that happened before that. Like I have to go back and watch. So I know about Kurt Angle and how it's Samoa Joe.
Man,
Like,
I
know
wish
about
I knew you
all
in
that
real
stuff
life, 'cause
now.
I would have made you sit down and watch so many.
And I would have loved
classics,
to,
man.
and I would have loved to, but
Oh,
like
man.
so me
Where you live
WWE. I was
live
just in
at?
the
We don't
WWE.
have
I'm in
it.
Texas.
Oh, say word, say word.
But
all right,
yeah,
last thing before we get off here, before we end it, I want everybody to give a Mount Rushmore of WWE themes all time. Mount Rushmore.
Why do you like doing this?
Why would you
That's
do
my-
this?
that's- why do you like doing this?
The
What-
four greatest WWE themes all time on the Mount Rushmore.
So for me, it's Edge's Metalingus. That for me is the best one ever. Undisputed Era. I love that one. I love that one. These last two, I know it's gonna be very far fetched, but it's my personal favorites. Velveteen Dreams, peak NXT thing.
Velveteen Dream.
Exactly. That to me is forever top notch. And then just because it's so iconic, Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta Shield, like that to me. Like I heard that and I sat up in my chair. I'm like, hey, what's finna go down today? Like it was crazy for me.
What
And then
about you,
honorable
Ricky?
mention Cena.
What about you, Henry? Not Rushmore.
All right. I'm gonna throw Undisputed Era because that's one of my favorite factions.
I
I was thinking Austin because every time you hear that glass shatter, people go nuts.
Yeah.
I'll give that. I was thinking Shawn Michaels, and I gotta put The Rock. I'm sorry, The Rock is my all-time favorite. I gotta put The Rock out there. I know there's plenty of more, but I'm sorry, I gotta put him right there.
So
What
I say Voices, Slow Chemical, Broken Dreams. I love Broken Dreams so much, man. So what do I got? Oh, and Metalingus. That's my top four. That's my four.
Actually, no more words on there, so let's go ahead and say that one.
Somebody called my mama. Now let me stop.
Yo, the comments are about to go crazy right now.
You gotta put our truth what's up on there too.
Oh, that's
Mine is
crazy.
mine is gonna go based off of pop. So obviously, No More Words is on there. Voices. As much as I want to put Cena, Edge's theme song gets a bigger pop than that. And y'all cannot tell me that Vince's theme song is not on top of my Rushmore, bro.
No
Listen,
chance.
Tell me how I knew that was
That's
coming,
what
bro.
you got.
Tell me how I knew that was coming, bro. Oh my
All right,
god.
That's what I'm saying. Ernest the Cat Miller, bro. Somebody call my mama.
Yo,
my
oh
four
my
would
god.
my four would be Voices, The Game, Triple H,
My
Metalingus,
time is better. My time's
Nope.
better.
and Metalingus, and Walk Alone. Batista's theme.
You know my time is better. Put my time on there.
Those would be like if
My time is better. My,
Yo,
my
got
time is
That's
Come
better.
crazy.
on.
3 of us didn't have Stone Cold's. 3 of us didn't have Stone Cold's
Yeah.
entrance, and I low-key think that's probably one of the most iconics. It's just I wanted to go my favorites.
Well,
But here's the thing. I'm going
a lot
off
of
of
more iconic,
actual.
I mean-
I'm going off of actual songs though. Like,
yeah, like I'm picking like the songs that I think are the most like Stone
Fair
Cold.
enough.
Undertaker's gonna be on there too. His is iconic.
Mhm.
Undertaker's theme is
this shit's
legendary.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Like I don't know. I feel like those 4 right there, like those 4, I could listen to on repeat, like nonstop.
I held
Fair
back
enough,
saying
fair
I held back saying Rebel Heart and Christian's
Ooh,
theme. bro.
I
love
wanted
to say
Rebel Heart was on my mind, bro.
Rebel Heart
Heart
and
was my
Christian's theme too. I was.
Christian's theme.
Heart was my thing for my
Oh well,
thing.
hey,
Hey, let's not disrespect Christian's theme.
Thank
Like,
you,
what-
thank you. Somebody with class.
Wait,
Somebody with
talking about?
class.
There's 2 versions. We're talking about the Roots Progressioner
I
version
prefer
or
the guy. I
Rebel
prefer the
Heart?
version with the guy. I prefer the version with the guy.
Oh, okay.
Somebody with
Pete,
class.
Pete right here.
Thank you,
Yeah.
G baby. Somebody with class. Somebody with
Oh, you're not
class.
talking about the first one?
It was-
Christian!
I was thinking of that one.
You're on.
Nah.
I was thinking of that one. I was like, that one?
What was the words? If you just close your eye, man, that
Yeah.
That was cool.
Malik, you know you got Alberto Del Rio's theme on there. Stop playing with us, man. Stop.
Theme song that y'all really hate. Maybe a theme song that everybody loves, but that y'all hate. Like you really hate.
I don't hate. I don't
I'm gonna go
hate
first.
it.
I'm gonna go
Okay,
first.
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
Go ahead.
first.
You got it. You got it.
I'm gonna get heat for this.
Oh, boy.
Roman's current theme.
What? Okay.
Roman's current theme is to me. Like
This current theme.
Like
sucks.
it's one of those. It's one of those themes where when it debuted, it was cool at first, but the more I hear it, it's like, bro, because his entrance is so long and it just gets tiring.
Yeah,
like,
it is true. It's long.
Yeah.
like
it's actually
bro,
the other
fuck-
way for me.
I'm like, bro, fuck off. Like,
Nah, it's actually the other way for me. When I first heard it, I was like, I'm not really feeling this, but whatever. And then as it's going on, I'm like, okay, I guess I got it. I guess.
This is cool.
and Sami Zayn's current theme. I want his old theme back. Bring that shit back.
They're not gonna bring it back till he turns a babyface, which I think Triple H is gonna do.
Yeah.
I think Triple H is gonna do, and the first time
He
we hear
has
his
to,
theme
bro.
song,
Like this whole.
What's everybody else's answers? Theme songs the theme song that you hate.
so I don't hate this theme song, but I don't love it the way everybody else does, and that's Batista's.
Oh,
I don't hate
Yo, you,
Batista.
Wow.
no,
I don't hate
for this.
Batista's theme song. I do not hate Batista's theme song. I promise I don't. But
it's always
like,
a butt in there.
I can care less about it though. But everybody else be like, like that video of Xavier
Lick
Woods
hurt right now.
going crazy to it. I'm just like, I don't get it. But hey, like, I don't get it. But hey, that's your hey. You
so hard, bro. That theme song.
Bro, you've never did the. You never done that? Like,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really was never a Batista guy, so maybe that's why. But
I'll walk a mile inside.
yeah, everybody go crazy to it, and I'm just like,
Xavier
Cool.
Woods did what we all wanted to do at Mania.
yeah, and I was like,
Nah, off topic. You know who else I was jealous of? Fucking Mansoor when he came out to No More Words and did with Jeff Hardy, bro.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Henry?
Man, I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't think I have. Like, I really like theme songs. Like, it really. Nah, I don't think I have one. Honestly, like, top of my head, nah.
You actually got one?
I mean,
Don't
not
you dare
really,
say
but
it.
I do.
Don't
I
you
do
say it.
know. I
Don't
do
you
know
say it.
people who like this theme song, and I don't understand why. Because it
Don't
sounds
say
like
it.
nails on a chalk.
I hate you, man.
Bree
Bremo slaps. Bremo slaps. Bremo
nah,
slaps.
I'm not gonna lie.
slaps.
I'm not gonna lie. That
Bremo
is an
slaps.
actively terrible theme song.
Nah,
That is
Bremo
an actively
slaps. Y'all
terrible
tripping.
theme song.
Pretty
bro.
bad.
I'm not
I have
gonna
no
lie.
Pretty bad.
taste. Y'all have no taste. Brimo slaps, bro. Yeah, bro.
If there was
Brimo
any time to
slaps.
split up a tag team and have somebody keep the tag team's theme song, it was Brimo.
Chill, bro. Brimo is lit, bro. Y'all
No,
sleep.
no.
Y'all
Like,
sleep,
no
bro.
way Jose is better than that theme song.
You're
man.
tripping. Bro, y'all
That's
sleep.
true. That's
Brimo's
true.
fire.
Yo, they
Brimo
did my
is
boy
fire.
wrong too, bro.
Nah, you know
They
what theme
did.
song is fire, X? You know you want, man.
Hey.
Oh,
Y'all don't know about Dillian
I'm-
Hall, man?
I'm
She's
the hottest thing
since
since
sliced
bread.
bread.
Bro,
We about to-
Kelly's theme song is better
That
than
shit was
Breeze,
ass.
Breeze,
Nah.
bro.
Kelly
It's
shit
better
was
than
ass.
Yeah,
Nah, that
Kelly
shit was
is
ass.
good.
All right, y'all want to mention that? I'll throw that right there. That was hot garbage. Like, get the hell out of here with that.
Yeah, that shit was
Hey,
garbage.
it's better than Brimo.
No,
What
it's not. You
mean?
tweak it. Stop it. You had class. Don't lose the class. Don't lose the
Anything
class.
better than Brimo, honestly.
Bro,
Yo,
you tripping.
seriously,
Y'all have no
bro.
taste, man.
Anything better than Brimo.
Walter's
Alright,
current theme is slept on. Seems like a final boss.
Yep.
Yeah. His
Yeah,
theme slept on.
nah, his joint is, yo.
I would say
It's just that whole name switch just killed it, bro.
besides voices right now, and Cody Rhodes is gone. I really fuck with Seth Rollins. I ain't gonna cap. That's the
Yeah.
Yo, nah, his joint's fire. I ain't gonna hold you.
Seth Rollins team right now is really better than Gold.
I don't think Seth Rollins has ever had a bad theme song. Even his Monday Night Rollins Vision It like
You
that
ever
whole thing.
heard? You ever
Not
heard
Monday
the
Night
beginning
Rollins?
Of, you ever
Monday
heard
Night
the beginning
Messiah.
of NXT Seth Rollins theme? That shit was ass.
Oh, I don't. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't watching NXT when it first came. When he won against Jinder. Yeah, I wasn't watching NXT at that point.
Shit was
All right.
terrible.
Well, thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Everybody in the comments interacting. I see everybody interacting in the chat, leaving your thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys follow all their social medias. It's about a 2.5 hour show for you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed. Everybody got some discussions and topics in. So until the next podcast, next time, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for coming on. Much respect. And thank you guys for watching. Y'all be safe.